if that Titan loses $100, it could be pretty nasty to the downside. So I'll be watching that also this afternoon.
All right. Yeah, well, we traded some Titan as well. We can go over that after. I mean, we're going to have Sharif come out here. We're going to talk about some of the names that you guys voted on and so on and so forth. This is the same trade from the open, or from our first show, where SMCI, as soon as we left you guys at about 11 o'clock, started to cascade back in. And these were big trades. Like, remember we got stopped out there? We talked about, or I don't know if we got stopped out, but we got hit right there, and then we shorted that 200 period, and then that gave us this. Like, this is $1 and change. That's $37.50 right there at the bottom. And now we're just starting to get some out because it doesn't seem to want to break too far away from $38. So right now we're getting some more out on SMCI. And then the only other trade, it doesn't show me. I got to get in and out of stuff so you guys can see this. And then we're still in this AMD trade, which looks so crazy. Like, you know, like what goes up comes down. And we got a couple more out. We just got another piece out at the 50-period moving average, waiting to see if this one wants to work a little bit lower. And then the trade that... My number one stock is going to be AMD. We wind up still making money on IBIT, but not the number one stock. It does break that 58.20 level there. We got some in, we got some out, and then it dripped back in and broke through 58. So that long still plays off the open. But then we went long again at the top there and I don't think we gave anything back, but it did drip back in there, and we wound up getting out again at 58. So yeah, I mean, that's basically what we've been doing here. Tesla, I have a trade on it today, but nothing is since the afternoon. It had that huge move. And that was right when we left you guys at 11 o'clock, where it ran up to that 430 and then just was like, nope, and made its way all the way back down. And now you're hovering around that 420 marker again. No matter what, man, we can't get away from this number, it seems like. So
all roads lead to it.
You know what? I mean, but right there was 418.50. So yeah, Tesla right now under. I got to go short. I'm going to have to play the short. So someone just said, what's up with UNH? I mean, we already know the story there, but I don't know. Oh, yeah, okay, well... I was going to say, I'm not sure when this will come back, because right now, again, just because of, unfortunately, what the incident did was, just shine light on, I guess, how upset and how sort of dysfunctional maybe the healthcare business is. As far as insurance and as far as coverage and all that stuff in the United States. I mean, I can't believe that, and again, it's just bringing it to light. Like, for me, I can't believe that there's actually policies that will say, we only pay for this much anesthetic or something like that. It's like...
If the surgery goes too long.
Right, like I'm in surgery for 3 hours, but unfortunately the medicine only lasts 2.5 hours. So the last half hour is on you. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous.
I'll tell you, so here's the thing. My wife has been in the insurance business, like not medical insurance, and she's in, she's worked with several companies in the insurance business that does like auto and some health. And
right.
And I'll tell you right now, some of the stuff that is coming out about the U.S. healthcare insurers, like, it's shocking. It's shocking to her, and she works in the insurance industry. It's shocking to me, to the point where, I've held in my personal account UNH shares. I've just had them for a while. I bought a couple times in the last couple of years off of some support levels. I mean, I sold some, and I'm probably looking for an exit for the rest of them. It's just like... It's off-putting, man. Yep. And I'm old enough to not get surprised by a lot of things, but I have to admit that some of that even shocked me. But there was a comment in the chat about like Broadcom reports tonight, and you're going to have seen in the middle of the day, AVGO, Broadcom did one heck of a dipsy-do.
Oh, I got to get it out of something.
Right in the middle of the day here. So there was a report, and I'm just going to read it off here. There was a report suggesting Apple's homegrown wireless chip will come to iPhone later in 2025, and it was reported Apple is nearing a switch from Broadcom. So when this happened, AVGO went 180 to 176. It's right back at 180. A lot of times you see something like that's a bullish reversal when they take the news and say, who cares? Let's go. So that's the reason why Broadcom did that little bit of a dump. It's recovered. It's down 1.6%, but it's recovered from that crazy downward move. Apple, on the other hand, is just continuously making highs. It's a matter of where to get into this. on Apple. Super strong name today, Apple, but Broadcom, great recovery off that little dump.
Yeah, Broadcom earnings coming tomorrow night, I
Tonight.
think? Oh, tonight with Costco.
Hold on.
I'll have to double check that. I thought I looked and it was Costco, but I must have missed Broadcom. It's both. Okay, yeah. We'll review all that. No Adara tonight. I'll just be myself on the recap show. Adara day off. So
Yeah,
I think we got Sharif off
rest.
tomorrow. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's go back over to let's go to the screen now and start the rundown based on what you guys want.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Neil and Sean locked and loaded, ready to look at the tickers as cited by you. So join Joe and I during the How to Trade show during the midday and get into the chat and vote. We got a poll every hour. Have your say every day. Let's have a look at the major averages to start. Here's a look at the triple Qs, down 1/3%. The ES outperforming the NQ today, down only 1/4% last time I looked. The Russell, the worst of the four major averages, down almost 1%, breaking down below that 2,400 point level. And the Dow down 0.38. The Dow continues to bleed as of late. Let's look at the first ticker, though, as decided by you guys. Microsoft, great look today, takes that $450 level. Was a big move up to start the day. It had a good afternoon and a good day yesterday. It's been a good couple of days for Microsoft. There is no real headline on it, though. There is this kind of bad headline. They do expect an $800 million impairment charge due to GM Cruise's exit. It's a step in the right direction. This is more specific for GM. But guys, doesn't matter whether they're an $800 million impairment charge. You're still up 0.94% on the day.
So
Yeah, go
the
ahead.
headline for Microsoft, I don't know. I'm just going to make up what the headline is for Microsoft. Mag 7 company has yet to make a fresh 52-week high.
Damn it, you stole mine.
Is now attempting to do so. So that's why Microsoft, in my estimation, that's why Microsoft is strong, because look at what's been happening since it broke the wedge. So there's your higher lows, and this is a daily chart for everybody. There's your higher lows in the daily chart. Since it made the lower high, there's a series of lower highs. There's it converging on the 50 and 200 period moving averages. And there is your uptrend since, which is unabated to the quarterback at 465. Speaking of which, I have some really crappy choices for which defense to start in the playoffs this week, because the Bills play Detroit. And it's like...
but that's okay, though, because Detroit... They're going to put up a lot of points, but they throw the ball, like there's some sack opportunities. But
did you see the Bills' defense versus the Rams?
No.
That was against the Rams. There was literally no defense, and so I might have to start the Bears, and they have a bad matchup too. The KC's good. I'm starting KC. The Bears play somebody solid. It's not good. But anyways, the defenses I'm starting are kind of like the offer versus a Mag 7 name like Microsoft. But you know what? It's not as strong as Apple today. Like here's. Where did I put Apple? Oh, it's this black chart. Usually I have Apple in my top left, and now I have in the bottom right. That's how you're a creature of habit. If I have Apple up, it's in the top left of my screens up there, and I put it in the bottom right for the first time. No, but this is what Apple looks like on the day, and why I'm looking at this over Microsoft this afternoon. There's your double top from the morning. There's a consolidating off that double top with room, a lot of room to 250 and a lot of room to the high. And this is in a market that's not doing anything. Softy, you're getting the old VWAP bounce play, I suppose, and not really moving much. So, yeah, I like Microsoft to get there. I think we're getting before the end of the year. I think we're getting to the top. You know, you're just going to get to 470. It's a matter of when. And this afternoon, it doesn't feel like one of the stronger names. So, as far as like the non-NVIDIA, Tesla, Mag 7 names, my eyeballs are on Apple in this consolidation. Whether we're getting dips back into prior high, down around here, in the mid 240, 248 range, or if we're breaking out that top, I think Apple's got some good room. So yeah, I like Microsoft. I think it's getting to the all-time high before Christmas, but today it's not doing much.
No, I think you're right about that. We've talked about it. We like Microsoft. Obviously, it's going to be a good stock moving forward. Neil, I think he didn't bury the lead, but that's exactly what I was going to say, is that it's like, we've already talked about all these other names going to all-time highs. We've already seen that. We talked about the 4 that went yesterday. There was more than that, but just the big 4. So Microsoft has to join, and I believe it will. I don't know why it's lagging behind every other name as far as relative underperformance versus the other names, but it's still working, man. I mean, Microsoft's still going to the upside rate here. You're, again, percentage points away, probably 1.5% away from a new all-time high. So I don't know. I just think it's breaking out above there. You ask why it's doing this. You had a great base down here at 410. We talk about buying stock at the 200 period moving average. You got a great opportunity to buy, again, a huge American company that should benefit from all of this talk. I mean, if TikTok gets banned and things like that, I don't know, can Microsoft step up and maybe offer, I don't know, some hosting or something like that with Azure? I don't know, but that's true of all of these names. So I just, I like the Mag 7. I don't know. Microsoft has a huge moat around it. Windows, I mean, checks my software. Yep, still running Windows. So I don't know. I think PC is not dead by any stretch of the imagination. Although we all love our Macs and all that kind of stuff, so much is still run on Windows OS. So I like it. I think there's some potential there. We obviously see ChatGPT now going through with Apple iOS 18.2 just launched with ChatGPT. You can talk back and forth with it. Sharif was showing us some cool things you could do yesterday with Chat. So, I mean, if a lot of us will talk about Siri as not being up to par, well, hopefully Microsoft and OpenAI can help them out and get that going. And again, Microsoft, not that it has anything to do necessarily with Apple, but the ecosystem is still alive and well. I mean, I think that we need to continue to support these U.S. tech companies. You guys, I don't want to say you guys, but Americans elected Donald Trump. He's going to be stepping in there. He's very pro-business. He's very pro-USA. I feel like I don't need to say any of this. But at the end of the day, Microsoft, big company, should benefit over the next little while. So I like the stock. Not much else to say about that one. Without any real catalysts, as Sharif said, we just keep on watching it go higher and hope for pullbacks we can get long.
What do you mean, you people?
You people.
I was gonna say it when you said it, but I'm
people.
like, I didn't want to interrupt. But what do you mean, you people? I love Tropic Thunder. There's a couple of things.
Americans. That is a good movie. I have to rewatch it.
It's the funniest movie made in the last 20 years. AMD's moving because they're presenting at the Barclays conference. So management is presenting at a conference. It just went to that 132 level where it cratered from earlier. So they're presenting at a conference. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about what is being said or any headlines. Just the presentation started at 2, and apparently it is ongoing right now. So we'll keep our ear to the ground. And speaking of the ground, Adobe is in the ground.
Is it still down?
Oh, yeah, it's still down.
By the way, we just because, what's up, Randy? Look, we just shorted that there. I don't care if they're at a conference or not. Like, it just came up to 132. Now, let's just talk about this real quick. First of all, there it is right now, Randy. It's
another one.
And it's not, we're going to see if it can get into the dollar club right now. But again, what I should talk about is we're using less shares now because there's an uncertainty. If they're going to be at a conference right now, we don't know what they're going to say. So I'm going to use this top as a now 132.50 or so. But yeah, still could get blown out, but we'll take it. We wrote down 132. We like it. It was a great trade. It's my number 1 stock today. So we're going to see if we can make some money here.
What? Who's ordering sushi? What?
Oh, at the conference.
Oh.
Look at us excited over here, Randy.
I thought we were getting sushi for.
Oh, we got some little karagi chicken coming. Okay, here we go. AMD. So we just took another bid there at 30. Let's see if it can get to the downside. Man, why does this man have to start talking about sushi now?
I'm getting jealous because sushi. He brought this coffee, which I'm sure is for you.
Here's what to run.
But let's go back and talk some Adobe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask him for a tea
before we get in trouble.
Adobe, what a bad day for it today. 13.5, 13 2/3%. It continues to bleed. It's at lows right now, guys. So it did report earnings after the bell yesterday, and they were a mixed results. They did well in the current quarter, beating on the top and bottom line. It was the guide, the Q1 2025 guide, as well as the full year 2025 guide that did not have analysts impressed. In fact, analysts are split about the future of Adobe. Some saying its moat is in trouble. Others saying this is a good opportunity to get in. Guys, what do you think?
Right now for AMD, because there it is right there. What's up, Joe? There it is, $1 right there. We take it out at somehow at 131 right there on that one. Adobe, I didn't realize that it was at the low of the day again for Adobe, but yeah, down 13%. We talked about possibly getting that SSR bounce early. It looks like as soon as we opened up, we did get a little bit of a bounce. I mean, let me see if I can just zoom in a little bit better for you guys here. All right, so yeah, okay, wow. I mean, some of these, because it's such an expensive stock, you're obviously going to get these wicks that are a little bit out of control. So, all right, so we open up right here at 493-ish, whatever, give or take. Huge move down, right? 483. That's $10. I guess really it's not that huge based on the moves that we've seen before. And then it just bounces. So it feels like once all these buyers sort of, once it bounced off there, the buyers came in droves. And I think that was probably the SSR bounce. So you get a quick one, and then you can't break the top of the day. So top of the morning to you if you're out there. But at the end of the day, that was the fade. So despite the price, and it's $400, $500, some of these plays, we had Macy's yesterday, Neil wasn't here. It's the same kind of thing. It's like it comes back into the high of the day. If it doesn't break it, you have a definite playbook for that. You know, it couldn't break it in the pre-market. There was definitely enough volume happening here. It opens up, it wicks a couple times. Then on the way back, again, hindsight is 2020, but that's a great spot right there to short it against like 495. Like you can give this name $2 or $3 worth of room, and then you can't predict a $20 move down, but you could definitely have held that, right? I mean, I equate this, and look, AMD is just like a thank you come again. We just said, right? Like this is the same kind of thing here. We're right off the open. It gave us a top. It was worth. We got blown out there. It was worth going back in for this to give up that. And by the way, like there's AMD one more time. Wow, man. Oh my. Neil, man, we are just on one right now. Let's just fire that hot dog cannon off right there because there's another out for us right there on this play. So I like a lot right there. Good trading here. Looks like anyways for AMD. Like what? I'm thankful that you had mentioned or whoever mentioned that there was a conference there.
I just saw it hit the wire and but I got some breaking news for everybody. Breaking news, and I quote, famous trader Sean, also known as the Katina Man, resigns after a global ban of the phrases Riz and Ohio announced. Reporters noted he was visibly upset that he could no longer make fun of Raider for being in Ohio. Shout out to Andrew Raider. What up, brother?
Where is it? Where was that
the
chat?
Super chat. I
don't even see it. I must be in the wrong...
You might. There it is. I think you're in the wrong chat. You might be in the old show chat. Thank you, Mr. Raider.
All right.
Always fun.
Let me see what this joker is saying here.
Well, obviously, there's no one banning Riz and Ohio.
As Katina Man, yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, no one's banning Riz.
Resigns.
And Ohio.
Yeah, I resigned yesterday, but I just came back. Global ban of the word. Look, I mean. The word Riz is banned and pretty much banned in our house. I mean, I can almost guarantee you that right now. But thank you, Raider. Are you coming on, Raider, or what? Because we'd love to have.
Yeah, are you joining us, Andrew?
On today? I'm assuming that is what it is. But
I know you're joining us in the aftermarket
literally
tomorrow.
Ramin's like, great question. We
my bad.
So, Neil,
trade the pool.
Smarten up.
Smarten up. Trade the pool allows stock traders like you to get evaluated and trade real shares using the company's capital. With no PDT rule holding you back, Trade the Pool has just launched a limited edition program for a one-time fee of just $300. You'll receive $80,000 in buying power and the chance to become a funded trader. Hit a profit target of just 4% and you'll start trading with the company's capital.
That's dangerous.
That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Get funded faster and easier with new conditions designed for success. And the best part, the profit split's been upgraded to a generous 70%, so you keep more of what you earn. Don't wait. Check it out now and see how Trade the Pool can help you trade bigger and better.
It's such a great opportunity, you can't even get it out.
Well, I mean, I blame you. I blame you for...
I'll take all the blame.
Like, right in the middle, you try to get into that, okay, let's get serious for a split second. Let's crack a joke when smiling's going to make me cough, which has been true for the last little bit there. And Rivian Millionaire, you're 100%.
What did he say?
I don't know. We have like our banner photos for And then we have photos that we do for some of our social media content. I'm smiling in a lot of them. But for whatever reason, in that little trade the pool thing, I'm the only person not smiling. And I have pointed it out before. I don't know why it's the case. Sometimes I'll do the serious one. I got the Mr. T, but I took a bunch of photos where I was smiling. And they just decided to use the Neil is not happy, angry black, you know what I mean. No, the trade the pool ad remain. I'm the only person in that picture, and I have this scowl going on, yeah, it's not my fault. Thank you, Randy, for the tea, which I just got. I appreciate that. Let's go back and talk about a chip name that was strong earlier. I don't know if it still is.
Up almost 5% here, Neil, 4.87. Trading below 150 bucks, though, is ARM at that 148.94. Decent day for it. Again, no headline for this one, but it is trading at an interesting area, guys. We're coming into that range that we were at previously here on the daily chart. If I can get this thing to switch, well, here we go. All right, so we're right back at this key area of resistance that we were at when this went to an IPO. Still well off the highs, though, guys.
All right, just letting people know we were covering some AMD there. It went right into 130.60, and that was that top. So we're out of more than half of the reload right now as AMD continues one move. So that's ARM. All right, ARM Holdings. So, not every stock is built the same, but if you're in the sector right now, SMH and some of these chip names just haven't really been moving around too much. Lately, obviously yesterday we had that move up for NVIDIA. We had the move up today a little bit before the fade. We're obviously short AMD right now, but ARM seems to be trying to at least break out a little bit. I mean, it's nowhere really near the 190, which is the all-time high. We talk about some of these names. I mean, NVIDIA is $10 away from all-time high. I don't know what it's trading at right now. AMD is $100 away from all-time high. But ARM has work to do, man. I mean, that was a pretty good drop. But look where we dropped right into the 200-period moving average. If you want to play the theme of, cell phones and Internet of Things and all of that kind of stuff, ARM is the right stock for you, for sure. I think that, what was it, in 98% of cell phone chips or something is their technology. So
I think it's 98.8.
Yeah, so my bad. But 98.8.
I think it is that crazy.
All right, so that's what we're talking about right now, and I just think that you got to be careful shorting this name. That's all. So what is the short float on ARM? I don't know if I like the long because what I was going to say is
it's not a very big short float. It's just
it's 12.
There's not a lot of shares available.
Yeah, so it's 12% right there. And the thing is, I don't even know the story of what's been happening with SoftBank, how many shares they still own. But this is just going to be a pretty simple over-under situation. If you look at the daily chart, that's 150 right there. We topped out on that November 8th, so not too long ago, a month ago. Now we just spend our time underneath, so we're waiting for it to break higher. Then we get 160, and then the route is on higher. So yeah, I mean, I like ARM holding the 200 period. I'd say this is a buy right here, to be honest with you. So, I like it. I'm not an investor in this name. And quite frankly, I'm trying to buy less names in the tech space. Most of my chip money is with NVIDIA. So, but I like ARM for other reasons, right? So yeah, ARM holdings. I know you're still in a little bit.
Yeah, I'm still in. My intention was to get what in my account, what I was considering in my retirement account. I expected to be a full position, and it just never happened because I was too stingy, and the valuation was expensive, and I was whining about it. And then even though I was only in a quarter of what I wanted, I ended up selling half when it made a big move. Now I want to try to get back in. I had a stink bid that I put in after seeing what happened yesterday. The holding of the 200 period, and then we closed up here at the 50, I was like, if it does it again, I'm just going to sit in front of 135 and see if I can get picked up, which means that's why it broke away. I think the trade now is just if it was holding the 200 period before and just broke this resistance at the 50, the new long is in front of the 50. So if it gets down to that 50 period on the daily, which is in the mid 140s, I think that's where the buy zone is. This afternoon, quadruple top at 150 into a falling market. Yeah, that's a pass for me. I'm looking mean reversion, and I don't think I want to look for it at ARM. The market's coming back in. I don't mind things that have stalled out at the top looking for shorts, but Intel's the one I'm kind of working on because that's the one I've been trading, and it's at a level that I like. So I like ARM off that 50 period. Maybe you'll see that tomorrow come in. I think that's reasonable. And look for longs maybe tomorrow. I'm looking for a mean revert on something else over here in Intel, as that's 3% up, which, I mean, it's been down so much. 3% is nothing for it. Let's talk about Titan.
Ooh.
An IPO that may be signaling that IPOs are back. I don't know. We'll see.
ServiceTitan, Neil, one of the latest IPOs over here, opened up at 101, but the IPO price for those participating was $71 on 8.8 million shares. That's what the company is putting available for publicly trades. 169 guys were still holding above that $100 level, but I believe, Neil, you were talking about that 105 top. Tell us about it.
I was most recently talking about what if 100 breaks on this thing. I think it. I mean, it looks like a short. Why did it say? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I went to put a stop in at 100. I have to check the rejection as to why it said no stop order. I've paid for locates, but maybe it's used the wrong key. It doesn't matter. Like it opened. It opened at 101, went to 105. I was actually up. I came back and sat down and was like, oh no, Titan opened. I didn't think it was gonna. I didn't think I was going to miss the open. Sat down on my desk, and when it had just made the next bounce off 101. So it's blind luck that I happened to sit back down when it was testing 101. Like, it is what it is. I was like, oh, it's open. Sean's like, yeah, it's open, and it's right back at the price it opened at. So I just kind of went long at 22, scalped a VWAP, then threes, and then I like this wick here, where it got to 105, trailed me out, and then there was a brick wall at 105. So it's not. I'm not telling you anything you shouldn't know if you weren't watching the stock when it got to 105 bucks. Absolute brick wall. Eventually came back, broke the 101, and now 100 looks like it could break. Like any IPO, you have to pay for locates, but they were, were reasonable enough. It was like 7 cents per share here at Real Trading. If it breaks 100, I could see it absolutely. I mean, flush is the wrong word, but I could see a nice little scalp.
That's not the wrong word.
If it breaks 100, I mean, well, what's flush relative? Like the range is only $5 on the stock today. Which is 5%.
Flush, down 5%.
Yeah, I mean, I could see it going to 95. Is that really
I don't know where it's going to go.
Because the issue's at $71. So is going from 100 to 95 is a day trade. That's a flush. But if you're in at 71, you're not exactly crying. So I'm gonna see if we can get the breakdown on that trade.
Yeah, Titan right here. We did fine on it. Again, we were in early. We took a nice little run up into 102.5. Then it tried to break the IPO price. If you ever break the IPO price, I'm out of there. And the IPO price was 101, right? And so we had that. We got it good there. And again, some of our outs is like 103.50 right there. Then we bought it back once it broke and then kept going. So we're like, all right, we'll take that again. So that was a good trade for us. Did I just get filled on something? What just happened there? No, I did not. Okay. All right. So, and then we went long again up to 104.50. It was kind of baselining there at 105. It's too bad we don't have that tick, but we do have one similar to what Neil had, 104.50. And then it was just like, womp, all the way down and it broke 101 again and we got out. So net, good trade. We're up on it. It's like my third or fourth best stock today. Positive expectancies on IPOs by going long off the price. Wait to see what happens. Wait for the level to fail. So no matter where we go right now, I am completely satisfied with the trading that I had done on Titan. I mean, would have rather got them all out here. I think this was probably about 20% or so left. We took a lot out when it went to the upside. I was holding for that dream. Just that we broke 105. There was nobody there. It goes up 107, 108, 109. That's like I had offers up there. So, I like the break short. I think Titan's a good one. All right, Uber. We've not taken any lately, but we bought some stock yesterday. Let's go find out what's going on with Uber.
Up 1 1/3, Sean. Definitely off the highs, but at least it's not negative on the day. In case you're wondering what's going on, this one had a tough day yesterday. Reason is GM General Motors winding down their autonomous vehicle division, Cruise, and that was a partnership that they had with Uber. So Bernstein and many other analysts now saying that autonomous vehicle technology for Uber and Lyft could be a lot harder now that they lost one of their key partners.
Yeah, I mean, is it a potential setback? Sure. That obviously makes some sense. But I can tell you the last 2 times, I shouldn't be talking about a future that hasn't happened. The last 2 times it traded under 60, this is the beginning of the year. It traded under 60 for all of one morning and then like 3 mornings, essentially, maybe 4, and then look at the ramp job to the upside. And it made that 80 top. And then we had the August lows where it traded down under 60, and that was a panic selling, and then it traded back into the high after that. So you're entering a zone where Uber has had and you know what load of buyers to start to curl. That's kind of what I'm looking for on Uber. Like if it gets underneath $60, look for like any kind of capitulation candle, and then the next day you just go long. I think you just try to keep it simple. If it gets down underneath the $60 level. For today, I mean, I actually had this on my note for a short at 65. I guess I came in way too bullish on the market. I think that's probably a bit of a part of the issue. I came in a little too bullish, thinking you were going to retest into this zone, like 64 to 65, when Uber had gapped up, and then it just never did. It just ended up falling very, very slowly, unfortunately. So yeah, you never really got the chance to short a pop. I thought you could when it was gapping up, but if it gets under 60, just look at the pattern every time it's done it before. That's been a place where if you get a bottoming tail candle on that daily chart, the next day has been the start of a great long opportunity on Uber.
All right. Just looking to make sure we got all the right trades going through here. We still have $1 on AMD. We got 60 cents on SMCI. All right. Yeah, I mean, you just went over some levels there. I don't disagree, obviously, with Uber. It's a negative story, right? You're going to have to try to do your best with this name. I recently bought yesterday down there, and we actually got back into those lows today and then bounced right off $60. So we're actually pretty lucky. Actually, that's yesterday right there, that $60 mark. I feel like it's going to have to hold that one more time. We can sit here and talk all about, you know, what we think about Cruise, which was the GM's autonomous driving that is gone, that Uber had a piece of, which could have helped them for sure. At the end of the day, I like the stock. It's a big piece of society right now, honestly, Uber. Like, I don't know, every time I'm driving around the city, all I see is Ubers everywhere. I like the stock here. I think down 30%. I think it's, I used the word layup before earlier today. You know, you don't want to ever be too confident about it. I don't know, like that August 5th bottom, there's not too many names that I actually think are decent companies that don't have too many tailwinds, or headwinds, sorry, in this situation. Uber is right here, man. I like it. It's trying to turn red for the year. It may even be red for the year. Don't get that opportunity too often. So for me, Uber's a buy. I mean, if you're going to look at Lyft right now as well, that's similar, right? I mean, you're giving it back on a lot of this level, right? I mean, 19 down to 15 is just as dramatic of a drop. And Adair actually pointed this out yesterday on the recap show where someone asked Lyft or Uber, and it was just the fact that at least Lyft is still above the 200 period. So I say technically there's some kind of love down there, at least for Lyft.
I still like Uber better.
Oh, me too. I mean, I would never buy Lyft over Uber, but you know, valuation is one thing. Lyft down 3% today. Uber down, hold on a second. Uber was only down, what, 1% or so, or up 1%, sorry. So, yeah. So
but hold on a second. But Lyft doesn't make money yet.
Lyft, they might have just turned profitable. I'm not sure.
Did they? Okay, I could be dead wrong. I could be dead wrong about this. I didn't think Lyft made money yet, and Uber does. That's the distinction. For me, we got a super. I know we're gonna get Andrew in a quick little second. We did get a super chat here, and it was from Mela. Would you take a look at RX? Just look at it. I mean, really? We're only looking at it, and we can look at it. It's down 5.5 points today. But when you look at this on the daily chart, like it's a very reasonable. And a lot of times we'll get like these small caps. Hey, have a look at this smaller cap name. Well, this isn't that bad. Like if you take a long enough zone, you can see the $5, now $6. It has some support, and it's made some rallies off this level. All of them have faded out in the 15 range. I think that's something you should watch. But it's looking like it's doing another. Like it's made the little bottom down where you expect it to. It's got the 50 period pulling back into it. The question is, can it make the other leg up? But yeah, it's an interesting one. I don't know what catalyst will get it there. I'm not familiar with the company, but it's done this before off this $5, $6 level. Just, be careful. The last time it stalled at 10, it stalled at 15 before. Yeah, it doesn't look that bad on a dip. Just understand, if it ever loses a bit like that, you could run into a heck of a lot of trouble. But I do believe we are ready.
Ooh.
We have not, Riz has not been banned, and Ohio has not been banned. And
I don't know, he is the CEO.
Well, but if it was ever going to happen, I'm sure we would find out from the CEO of Ohio himself.
We should.
Andrew Rader, locked and loaded on this fine Thursday. Andrew.
Yo, why are you wearing glasses, man? No, you can wear them if you want.
No, they're gone. They're gone. I don't know what you're talking about.
I was just wondering, because we have Joe over here that wears them for fashion. I was just wondering if that was the new thing that everyone does these days.
No, honestly, since I go to bed extremely late and I wake up sometimes very early, I was on 3 hours of sleep last night, so my eyes were
Hot date or what?
hard worked because of the white charts that I always have instead of black ones. I punish myself with that, so.
Yeah, we do that on the show, as well.
Well, I'll tell you right now, we might show everyone the white charts, but you're better off with I have the dark charts for everything that I can. That said, I mean, you can get away with that when you're young, sir. But yeah, those 3 hours, 3 hours of sleep. So first question is, what charts were you looking at, Andrew, that kept you up till ungodly hours of the night?
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today because I got some ideas in Homebuilders. We talked about that last time. But also the future direction of the market based off of some data and some timing, of course. I always like to talk about timing. You guys know direction. Everyone knows direction. But the hardest part about trading is always timing.
Correct.
So that's why I'm here.
Correct. We talked about on Friday the max pain, some different levels that had happened. We did get obviously a bump up yesterday in the market, but it's kind of choppy at these levels. For those, I don't know what graphics you have. Obviously, we have screen share open now as well for you. So if there's anything that you want to talk about, because we only had about 3,000 or 4,000 on the show at that time, what are we talking about? What are we looking for as far as seasonality and the max pain talk?
Only 3,000 or 4,000 was a crazy passive flex for you, Sean. But as far as the other stuff, the markets right now, we are in max pain phase. For a lot of you guys that don't know, from my research, the market makers move markets ahead of massive OPEX expirations, aka options expirations. One of the biggest being quad witching. This happens 4 times a year during the third Friday of 4 different months, December being one of them. Right. And what you actually get is trillions of dollars of derivatives expiring. We talk about this all the time. I repeat myself for those that have been watching. It's futures, options, all that stuff expire on the same day. With so much money being lifted off the market, you might be wondering, well, that has no effect really on the equity market. But that's not true because options have an obligation to equity. And that market makers who are selling options, they have to buy or sell equity depending on what they do with those options. So there is an underlying movement that you can expect with these options expiring. And that's kind of the secret sauce with options in the options market is understanding that relationship can get you very, very far in what I was taught by my mentors. But specifically, if you want to share my screen right here, we talked about that 30 days before, you typically get a shakeout phase. This is characterized by a massive fake out. We saw that to the downside, almost to the schedule. It happened on the 20th. Now that we were on 6th, I came on here last Friday and I said, today was max pain. It was the start of max pain. And I said, get some downside exposure. That's exactly what happened. You're starting to see that weakness bleed into the markets. And so what we are in right now is called max pain. And the objective of this phase is also called the pin move. You often get a very painful move that closes both the bears and the bulls in pain. So exactly what you're seeing now, gap up, flush, gap down, buy up. That kind of action is exactly what you can expect moving here forward into the 20th. But that's kind of been my trading plan. I've been a lot of hands off in the market in general. A lot of the different plays I've been talking about over the last few weeks, IWM, TLT, these really haven't played out. And yet I still haven't taken a major position in any of these yet because, well, we're entering the phase of the market, which I'll discuss in a minute, where it gets very painful.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what you just talked about. It's one thing to make calls. It's another thing, like you said, to time them. I mean, the timing is going to be something that sometimes we just got to be patient with and wait for on all of that. We did get a nice move here. We were just talking a little bit about some of the sectors that have been weaker rather than stronger. What is your opinion here? And it's something that we don't talk about too often, you and I for sure, is the semis, right? SMH. Like, it's been pretty, and again, we can come to my screen quickly here, Ramin. It's been pretty sideways, man, for a while. Sure, we've had our ups and our downs. you like this sector or anything right now? I mean, I don't know. Heading into the new year, we could have some tax harvesting here. There's that trade that happens near the end of the year as well. But it's holding the 200 period for me. And I know you and I have talked about XBI and a few different ETFs, XLE as well, that we like. What do you think about SMH here? I know it's very NVIDIA heavy, but any opinions on this?
Sure. So as far as the semiconductors, this was actually a big playbook of mine for the first week of the month, the December. I actually did go long AVGO. That was my biggest trade of the month so far, was longing off outperformance expected in the first week. Now, if you're wondering how I'm getting those expectations, you can just throw up my screen right now. This is the seasonal expectations of the market right now, month to month. So this is the seasonal expectations of December. And you can see the first week we typically get outperformance in the technology names and the IWM. Now, we didn't get that in the IWM, but we certainly were expecting just technology. Now we're entering a phase where we can actually expect somewhat of a, quote, blow off top. Now, I know a lot of bears are rejoicing. They're probably drooling, trying to lick the screen right now. Please get away from your monitor. Stop licking the screen. It doesn't mean that you're going to go into short. The market's going to crash. Black swan event. Get that out of your mind. That's not happening. Markets at an all-time high. That's not the expectation. But what you can expect is that moving forward around this Friday, you can actually expect more resilience in the Russell 2000 holdings. And we can also see that, of course, in the Dow Jones names. So these right now, as weak as they look, will probably start to be the better upside opportunity moving into the end of this month, where you typically see a lot more weakness into technology. So that's the expectation, is after this week, past the 13th, you should be positioning out of your longs, sell your longs, maybe not in your long-term portfolio, but certainly in your short-term swings, and start to look at the Russell 2000 names and, of course, the Dow Jones Industrials, which I'm currently looking at, several home builders, which we can talk about.
Before we talk about those home builders, I just, from a timing aspect, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on how the witching at the end of next week sort of plays into this, because in any market where all these Mag 7 names, these big cap names are approaching those highs, when you do reweighting of things that have been outpacing the market, there tend to be some down weights on them. So like, is that the kind of thing where, hey, take advantage of that and maybe wait a little closer to the rebalance? Or do you just not really take that into consideration? Obviously, Friday is going to be a big event. I just want to know how that plays into the thesis. Like, do you try to time it to take advantage of maybe some big down weights that'll happen in some of the bigger cap tech names?
Yeah, so generally speaking, the run-up trades are always around a week prior, several days before the quad witching. Of course, we are 2 weeks now away from that. That's the period where you actually want to start positioning out of those big winners. We saw a lot of the tech names just absolutely rocket. We saw AVGO absolutely rocket. A lot of the solar names had big pumps yesterday. That's when you want to start positioning out of those names. And when you go and you short, you start to look at, okay, where is there going to be weakness? Is it actually worth shorting? Well, first of all, you want to stay away from the SPY, QQQ. You want to stay away from the general indices themselves, because of the kind of mixed bags you often get into the quad witching, because people are selling selective groups. You want to stay away from the broad indices. You want to short individual names. Two names that I actually shorted was ELF today at the open, and then I also took positions in TTD on Monday. So just shorting some overblown, dragged up stocks that started to slow in momentum. And if you look at ELF and you look at TTD, these were really the weaker names. But if you look at a name like Microsoft, that's not something you want to try to fight into a major expiration, because the expectation is not a drop, but rather just a slowdown. When you have so much momentum, you don't expect a complete V-shaped reversal. You expect a slowdown and then first and then a slowdown after. I think so many people fight momentum when in reality momentum is king. If a momentum is strong enough into your zone, you no longer think of that zone as a reversal, but rather just a slowdown. Zones are checkpoints. They're not to be thought of as hard walls. That's why we call it liquidity. And think about a basketball dropping into the water. Yep. If it gets thrown hard enough, it can go below the water surface, even though it floats, and then it will start to rise back up. So that's kind of the analogy I would reference with that. But I typically, with timing, next week, definitely be looking at the overblown names, the names that have been slowing down into this week's Friday, because now that the seasonal expectations are no longer bullish as far as the technology, those names will get rug pulled first.
Yeah, I love that. I love that note of, you have a key price area, support and resistance, whatever it might be, for a reason, but it doesn't mean you have to blindly, I like this as a resistance zone, you have to be short into it. It matters how it gets there and what it's doing when it gets there. We love your insights, and we're going to get to these home builds in a quick sec, but I have to say, a couple of times, my daughter every now and then watches the show, and she's seen you on. She's like, oh, he's smart and he talks the lingo, the right lingo.
Your daughter
she's
says
into.
that?
Because the only person that says Riz and all that stuff is Andrew.
Your daughter watches the show and says, "This guy seems smart."
Well,
okay.
She likes the fact you speak the same language. But I'll tell you right now, Raider, you said you went short ELF. That's over because now I'll just be able to see this stock that's ELF because we do ELF on the shelf. See this stock that is ELF. She has no idea what they do, but suddenly that is just a red mark against you. It's it's clearly been a weak stock, and yes, it is pulling back, but it's the wrong time of year to be shorting ELF. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I was getting at, Andrew. But let's talk about these home builders because I know you're interested specifically.
I just want to interrupt just real quickly here. I mean, that was great segment there. ELF on a shelf. Snoop on a stoop as well you could grab. But right now, just quickly here, look at Bitcoin right now. It's dropping. So I just want to interrupt here because we just broke through 100,000. There it goes right now to the downside. 99.3 right now for BTC. So it is a little bit of a fail there. We were looking at IBIT all day today. There it is right now. Bitcoin on a 5-minute chart. It's dropping down just a little bit. I mean, I think we do have some support in this 97 area. So let's wait to see if Bitcoin continues its ride to the south side. But all right, Neil, you want to talk to Mr. Raider.
Suspiciously timed, by the way. Suspiciously timed drop.
Did you
what
just
say?
cause that
Did
drop?
you fat finger that or what? What happened over there? You're a crypto bull, aren't you there, Andrew? Or
well, I was in October, but certainly in
Right.
December. That's when I mentioned that there would be a major slowdown.
Yep. And again, Andrew has called that. I mean, a couple times on the show there, talking about getting long and sort of those October swoons. And then, of course, with Trump winning, that was a huge boon for crypto.
I'm the Rizzler that stole Christmas for Neil's daughter that's watching right now.
Yo,
The Rizzler.
I thought that was banned, my guy.
Just in Canada. Not
just in Canada.
Yeah.
The 51st
like
state
that,
or whatever, 52nd state there.
I'm going to hear this 52nd state nonsense.
Yeah.
We're a country.
Coughing here over here.
We have our own. We have a prime
I
minister.
saw that and I started laughing so hard. I was like,
I have to tell you,
actual drop of a sitting president calling it a second.
That was
second.
Not even president yet. The funniest part, I'm going to tell you a little story about Andrew. So we all went out to dinner, and it was actually pretty funny. So we're looking at the menu there, and he's looking down, and we got the steak, we're all ordering it, blah, blah, blah. He looks down and is
Good
like,
dinner, man.
$80 for fish and chips? It was like, what the hell? You remember that? That was really funny, man. But we had we're just like, don't worry, my guy, we got this. But anyway, that was a really funny time. And that goes to, of course, the U.S. dollar. The U.S. dollar is super strong right now. Have you had any thoughts about that? How potentially a strong U.S. dollar may affect? This might go into your home builders. I don't know. But what do you think about the strong U.S. dollar? How can traders maybe play that? Are there any opportunities that you're seeing in the U.S. dollar right now?
Yeah, so one thing, a lot of actually the policies with Trump, while a lot of people do favor that, hey, tariffs, all this stuff, that, it's strong for the dollar, a lot of people on the other side are actually saying, well, despite what he wants, it's likely to actually create a weak dollar. So something of that nature. But we'll see what happens. There's a very mixed bag. A lot of people against the tariffs, a lot of people against, what Trump says versus what he does. But ultimately, I'm not really looking necessarily to play anything with the dollar. However, there are some different names that, of course, we've been watching over the last few weeks, which, of course, have been like metals, miners, these type of things. I've really put a pause on these, although they have been rallying since the low, but they have been gapping up since the low of, I think, the 27th or 28th. And then holding that. So that's a trade that I've put on pause. But specifically, I do want to talk about this trade, home builders. I actually do believe that home builders will get a significant move here soon. Now, I can't show the order because I don't have it up and it's going to take me a while to find it. But there was a specific large hedge order placed for the 20th and 13th of this week and next week's expiration. It was a large put order around 850K or 900K, something like that. While that doesn't seem like that much money of stock, it certainly is for options because remember, each contract is 100 shares upwards. So upwards of tens of millions of dollars worth of stock, etc. The market maker is now hedging those. He's now selling shares. Immediately after he placed this, there was a massive selling pressure move here. But that's a good sign because any slowdown of these puts, any decay of the put premium is going to force market makers to start buying back shares that they shorted to hedge. Because the puts lose value, they need less hedges, which means how do you exit hedges that you shorted with? You buy back. So it creates buying pressure. One of the trades I'm actually looking at is DHI. I believe this one is entering a near entry here for the 1220 or 1227 expiration for equity you can hold for longer. But this one right here, as weak as it seems, I actually think we'll get a kick a word day over the next few weeks, and we should see a significant rally from that. Now, from a technical standpoint, I also like this as well. What you have is a channel, and you have what's called a spring. The spring is to fake out to the upside, then you go for max pain to the downside. We call this structure a market maker cycle. I made this little graphic for you all. You can screenshot it. It happens over and over and again. And one of the more famous examples that Raider Trader made a lot of money on was this one right back here in October's bottom. If you guys remember me on the show here, I was talking about October 350 being the bottom in 2022. Right here, you have this structure. You have a channel, you have a spring, you have a max pain. That's the liquidation for the upside move. That's all I got. XHB, ITB, or DHI, guys.
There you go. And sometimes, that setup. I was looking at some of the other names there, but DHI is really giving you that pop potential. It does seem. Obviously, look, Andrew, we talk a lot of it. We're just talking about the good dinner we had and blah blah blah, USD and the strength. What is your thought for? Like, look, U.S. dollar strength obviously is there, and it's in full force. We're going to see another cut coming next week. What's your positioning on this whole department of efficiency and how it might affect spending? Because my whole take on this is like it's a task that can't get accomplished. They tried this in the 80s, and it was of no effect. They didn't get it under control, and they still had to print. So I kind of feel like it's any excitement that comes out of that is going to be a miss. I'm seeing there's weakness in names like Lockheed Martin and defense names, as if somehow spending is going to get cut. And I'm looking at some of those and seeing some opportunities. What's your thoughts overall on how that could potentially shape things going into next year? If you don't, I'm putting you on the spot here, but certainly if they were to get it under control, it will require some serious cost cuts in places that have never actually had it happen. And I'm willing to bet against that in some of the names that are getting sold off.
Yeah, certainly. So as far as the cut costs and things like that, as far as the efficiency group, my opinion on that is I think the idea of it is very sound. There is a lot of wasteful spending in a government just because there are so many gaps in efficiency, right? You have to communicate with one department, the other, but you have to do so with a paper form that you submit, fax to the other person. It's a whole process. It's not as simple as sending a text message, yada, yada, yada. So there is a lot of inefficiency in the government. We've known this. We've known it since the start of government, that it was never to be really efficient, but rather just a representation of something that we ourselves don't really necessarily want to do, which is govern a bunch of people. However, while the idea is really sound, one of the few problems I see with it is, number one, when you identify places that you have to cut, there are a lot of agencies in the world, or especially in the US, that although they might seem useless, are tied in with other agencies, and that would cause a lot of problem if it is recklessly just cut off the bat. And so while a lot of people might not get this, but slashing sounds good, but in practice, it's very hard to justify because you have all these people that now, well, wait a minute, Susie, who worked at this agency, she also relied on this other agency to get the certain documents over to her, yada, yada, yada. It's a whole mess. It's an interweb that I think does need to be challenged eventually and does need to be reworked, but I don't think that getting anywhere with, just a simple slash over in 1 year process is going to be very efficient in itself. But I like the idea. Overall, I think it's a good political move. I think that this is something that we do need to move forward to, especially if we want to move towards a better national debt. But again, I think a lot of people stress that, while our debt is high, we are also one of the biggest reliant. It's almost like debt doesn't matter to our country because, well, we are paying so much interest. And while that is a big deal, you also do have a lot of the assets, a lot of the buying that every country, no matter what, still depends on us. The U.S. is the biggest buyer in the U.S. We are the biggest buyer and we are the biggest seller of any goods in the United States. So that's really one testament to how important the U.S. government is in the relationship of the world economy. But just as far as other stuff, what would debt do? What would all this do? In 2025, one of my biggest trades is actually the dividend trade. I think a lot of dividend stocks are going to be attractive. I think they're going to be actually bigger movers. And I think because a lot of people are looking, especially money managers, they're looking at the markets right now and they're going, the upside risk in a lot of these larger caps, these mega caps, they're starting to dwindle down. And if we're looking from a positioning standpoint as a money manager, I want the best risk reward. I want the best, maybe the slower end of this economic cycle is going to be better in dividends anyway. So I'm going to start putting in dividend names. So definitely names like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, all these names moving forward, the big dividend payers, the lower beta names. I think in 2025, that's going to be a big hit no matter what. And I think if you guys are holding a lot of dividend names, they got hit pretty hard this year and last year just because there was such a big rotation into growth. But that doesn't mean that I think in 2025, there's going to be a big revival in these names.
Yes, sir. And all I will say to that, anytime dividends get brought up,
Like that call.
be careful chasing yield, everybody, because good dividend stock has nothing to do with how much it yields. It has more to do with, does it preserve capital while consistently increasing or maintaining their dividend? Does it also preserve capital, and is it a strong company? Those are important factors when choosing a good dividend.
Don't go and get a 30-cent company that pays $2 dividends. Okay.
Well, I was gonna say Pfizer, but if you wanted to go, no, I was gonna say something. If it's got a totally downward slope, at some point it stops being a dividend play and is, hey, maybe you're taking a shot at it off the bottom and the dividend just keeps you afloat while you do it. That's very different from, say, like a Coke, like you mentioned, which is a quality company which consistently pays a dividend, or one of the energy names that consistently pays a dividend and you don't get rinsed on. What is going on there?
Fade to black. Andrew, thank you so much.
Someone in chat says I needed sun. So now the sun is covered by a cloud cover, and now you have Andrew, no sun.
Andrew, thank you so much for coming out there. I hope you get to that tanning booth that we also desire. But I think you look fantastic, man. I mean,
thank you.
We saw you in.
You can barely tell my headphones are on right now.
Oh, you're wearing headphones? All right, thank you. Thank you, Andrew, for coming through one more time. Obviously, a great friend of the show and a lot of knowledgeable, concepts and thoughts right there. So we love that. Thank you. And everyone can pick up the Raider Report. Go follow this guy at Raider Trader 101 and at Raider Trader over there on Instagram. Okay, my friend. Thank you so much. Have a great.
I have one more message.
Let's go.
I've got one more thing to say.
No.
The Rizzler of Ohio is gone, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take it easy, Andrew. The Rizzler of Ohio. There it is.
I don't.
He's keeping it skibbity.
He's all right in our books right there. Thank you, Andrew, for coming through one more time. And again, it's about the ideas, right? I mean, it's not every idea everybody has is always going to work. I feel like as long as you could justify it, make sense of it, and then trade off of it, and again, risk manage, right? I mean, if you don't like the home builders, that's completely fine. There's going to be dividend stocks there that work in certain environments and other stocks won't work. And it's just a matter of trying to pick which one's best for you with your own risk tolerances. And then again, remember, he started it off, and Neil and I talk about this all the time about timing. It's like, especially in what we're doing here as day traders, it's like some days I'll write down here, it's like uber long, the very next day, uber short. It's like you got to understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I think that if the catalysts are there as he sees them moving forward into the new year, then you look out for that, right? I mean, I just think that's what it is. So no matter what you think of the move forward, you got to understand the reasoning and the positioning and get positioned up for that. I mean, that crypto call was a great call there as well. I don't know what would have happened to crypto if Trump or Kamala would have won. I don't know. I think the trajectory was higher.
I try not to
Anyways,
think about it.
Wow, things look so much. I like those glasses, but I definitely prefer without.
I'll tell you, like it's great. It's great on your eyes having the blue light glasses on. But when you take them off, I realize it is so much better, like reading the charts and reading my level 2s. But I like to take the paint off the eyes. Look, the NASDAQ, not doing a heck of a lot, but we're holding under 100,000 on Bitcoin right now. And I looked over to, I guess, the place I look when crypto's weak, which has been Mara, it's that miner. Have a look at Mara right now. Like it is all red candles on this 15-minute from 24. This is going to be the first green candle. So if you're looking at this and we're going to hold under 100,000, yesterday's low was 23. You're consolidating off 23. If the first bounce gives us a push into 23, you haven't broken the low on the week yet, which is at $22.50. So there's room to get down to there. So we're about to pop up. Well, we are popping up, I should say. So looking for a curl off this 23 level on Mara. This Titan stock still, I mean, I feel like I still have the order in, but it's just holding $100. Like anytime you do this, you open at 101, go to 105, brick wall, lower high at 100. Like I'm thinking breakdown, if we get filled tight to $100 short, throw a stop if it gets back above 100 and just see if it flushes. We had to pay for low case to do it. So if it breaks, it breaks. At this point, you know, I did re-enter back into Intel for a little bit of a scalp trade. And then it's this Mara. As long as Bitcoin wants to hold underneath 100,000, you know, it's one of these three names. We're in Intel. We're waiting for the break on Titan, and I'm looking for a curl. If we get to 23, put a curl on, and we're still challenging and underneath 100,000, then I want to revert Mara. Let us know if there's anything else you guys are trading that is moving right now. I mean, Bitcoin kind of got our attention. The IPO has been a mover. I would expect if it breaks 100, it's going to move again. We just got to be patient, trade things going, because this market's not doing much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's... I was talking to Joe. Yeah, so I just wanted to say, like, we do have a good opportunity here to trade names that are moving around, and I think that this is, like I said, understand, like, on a prop floor and things like that, you're going to have to keep your ear to the ground. And that's why I think everybody, like, please get into the chat. I honestly, you know, the fact that someone had mentioned AMD was moving around up to that 132. And it's like, that was, so get into the chat. First of all, subscribers only, make sure you hit the subscribe, the like, and all of that kind of stuff. But like that coming right into a level that we had posted before, the only difference here is, again, is less shares. So for example, if I put on 100 here, I put on 25 here. You know, like that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. It's just, it's less shares when there's a move that comes out of nowhere. And you can always tell by this, right? This is so key, man. Volume. It's like when volume starts to pick it up, it is just boom to the upside right there. So you got to be very, very careful with what we're doing right here. We do have... So we got, my daughter had some of her pictures taken there today. So this is her playing hockey. I talk about it all the time. So there's some stats underneath there and everything like that as well. But there it is. Very, very proud of her.
You didn't even get a chance to read the stats.
Oh, no. The stats didn't copy over? Oh, man, there is a big pitch. It's not stats. It's just her. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you.
The burpee thing.
Oh, the burpee thing? Yeah, she's a beast. Hold on a second here. Open image.
Do you have any idea how hard that is?
Yeah, somewhat of an idea.
When I was, anyways, he's not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. So Sean mentioned that Gia
can barely
did 105 burpees at a fitness test.
No, not a test. She was at F45. It was just...
Okay, well...
Yeah, she goes
to
F45.
But like 105 burpees, if you've ever, anyone that's ever, I've done burpees before, and I once did, damn it, this throat is killing me. I'm trying to get this out. I challenged myself to max out, I was trying to do 200 burpees in less than, I forget what the time limit was back in the day. But I was much...
Sally up, Sally down thing.
No, this was years ago. I was still in the condo. Like, I was young. My daughter wasn't born yet. I was in much better shape. And it was like one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Even like, it takes a lot mentally to do a lot of burpees. Because it's not, I don't care how fit you are.
You get tired.
Like, you're sore. It's just like, why am I doing this? It's just,
life.
It is all mental. Like, you can be fit, but that's like a mental challenge. So it takes a lot of discipline is what I'm getting at to be able to do it.
Yeah, she could, by the way, shout out to Review Millionaire, she could beat Raider up. Yeah, that is true. You guys can't see that. Oh, you can. Okay, look at the quote that she gives here. People don't decide their future, they decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. Like what? Like right in there. Like I mean, maybe she used ChatGPT for that. I don't know, but hey, man, like if the building the habits is what it is, then that is what it is. I mean, she's been absolutely fantastic, and I don't know, man. It's just so funny because she's like all about that life. And then my wife asked my son, it's like, hey, Baron, what you want to go? He's like, nah, I'm cool. I don't need to go to F45, you know. So he doesn't want to do. He started.
He's chill.
Yeah, he's just chilling out. He was on his Discord there. He started snowboarding.
Nice.
Yeah, real nice.
What?
You know how expensive snowboarding is if you've never done it before?
My nephew's into it.
Yeah, so it's $200 a week. He's going there. Plus you That's it. Only 8 weeks, right? Only $2,000. Yeah. And then you also got to buy the equipment. You know, we rented it.
But he's active. It's getting.
Oh, no. I mean, this is the reason why I have no money.
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
it's completely fine with that. You know, you reap what you sow. And I sowed 3 kids. So I reap those benefits. But anyways, at the end of the day, you know, you gotta do that. Because else the kids get bored, you know, and you don't want them sitting at home all dang day. And I try to teach them about investing. I mean, Baron was here. If you go on my Instagram machine, you'll be able to see there that he is the original, basically, young gun here. Radar Trader's kind of taking it out, but Baron recommended Microsoft back about 5 years, or not 5 years, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, when
And Roblox.
when they were in discussion to buy Discord. So that was a good call by him. I think it was $230. We do have that clip at the time there. Just a pretty fluke call, but at the end of the day, a good one. I think you should all teach your kids about investing. That's, for me, it's a big part of what we do. It's not a big part, but we do talk about that. You talk about, owning shares and what it means to IPO and what it means to have a company out there and put your money somewhere else other than underneath.
Yeah, kids got to know what
mattress
compounding is.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been drilling, but my daughter, before she can't even, like, she does some division and multiplication, but understanding the concept of compounding and how it grows faster than regular counting, that's something we've been drilling in from a very, very young age. And why is because our brains are not wired to comprehend compounding. It's just not how we are. We're very linear in the way that we naturally think. So it's important at a young age to be able to grasp it, because most people, you lose an opportunity if you don't realize how powerful a vehicle it is. Speaking of powerful vehicles, $100 on Titan probably should have been a long, not a short. So I'm probably gonna, I don't know, it's 3 o'clock.
See, that's another trade there that we could have had.
Yeah, like I'm canceling my stop order to break short, and maybe I'll look for a bounce play off the 100 level. Like, look at it. It just held 100, what's the low? 7 cents in here, and then it did a higher low at 40 cents, and it just went back to 101. So it's looking pretty good. If we get another challenge, it might just be a scalp trade off the long. If there's not that much time, we're only 50 minutes left in the day, so for it to fall apart if it breaks that bottom is looking a little bit less likely. How is it? I'm trying to figure out how it's possible that my throat is worse after drinking this tea.
It's just because more talking, right? You didn't talk yesterday.
My level of frustration it's frustrating. I feel, what's crazy is I actually feel fine. It's just it's like gigantic frog in the throat. Mara did just come into that $23 level. Okay. We're still underneath that 100,000 mark on Bitcoin. So this is a curl I was looking for. We'll see if we can get something in the 90 range here. And if we break out this top, which is oddly enough $23 even, I would be out of that short. Axel saying NVIDIA is moving lower. I'll have a quick look in a second. Just want to see if we can get our stop in on Mara. We're still offering it. And we'll see if Titan actually wants to get down lower. So we'll see what happens there with NVIDIA is coming into VWAP. That could be something as well.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, just real quickly here about everything else. I don't have. So you guys want to know about Titan? I mean, they don't have a PE or anything yet. I mean, I other than whatever they roadshowed with, I don't know. Do they lose money? They
lost money real recently, and I know their revenue growth was 25% year over year, right, but they still lost money. They're not making money yet.
So that's what I was going to say. It's if you don't have the EPS, like we don't have the report on Titan. So I like whatever they roadshow with is what. So they go out, they try to garner interest for the IPO, and they give some stats. So whatever those are is what they are. I don't know anything really about Titan right there. The only reason we went long was because it was an IPO and it was fantastic.
Yep.
And then there's the hold there. It does come close to breaking 100. Does not. The minute it breaks that 101, which is the IPO price, that to me is the out. So we get out there. This one actually didn't break, so whatever. But then this one does break, and we wind up getting out. It looks like $100 and like 50 something cents is where it winds up punching us out at. So that was an L on probably the last 10% of the shares, probably maybe a bit more, right about the last 15% on that one. Those of you asking about AMD, so I have About 20% left. I went over and did the math. 20% left of this trade right here. We had it earlier and we had a little bit left over from there, but now I can't really tell. It's all the same prices. So I went back and looked at how many shares we hit there, how many we got out on the downside. So we have about 20% left. So we can continue to hold on to that. And I think that would probably be a good idea for us to do that. So we're going to do that right there on Titan. Sorry, not on Titan, on AMD, and try to hold out and see where we can go on that one. So that's what we're doing here right now. I did want to go over just really quickly. We do have earnings coming through tonight. Join me on the after show as we'll get that going. So today is December 12th, of course. Why does this say 13? Oh, 13 that are reporting. Okay, so we have Broadcom aftermarket close. We talked about that. That's going to be the biggest market cap there. As they're approaching $1 trillion. Wow, that could hit. That's 844. Previous move right there, 10%, looking at 7. So that 7% will take them. I'll redo the math. We'll have a look at that. I shouldn't say will in certainties, but take them to all-time highs. Costco's already at all-time highs, so any move higher than that wins for them. They are tonight as well. Suncor probably already reported. Yeah, this moved 2%, so that's fine. What else is coming in? Centene before market open, after market close.
The answer is yes, by the way.
Restoration Hardware. What was the question?
7% absolutely takes Broadcom to a fresh.
Right, exactly. Okay, we looked at that yesterday. All right, after that, man. So we have some guidance here. So some of these companies, they've done something different here on Market Chameleon by giving the guidance, it looks like. So Lovesac Company, okay, before market open. That's about it. So now you're into a sub 100 million. So really the two today that we're going to be really focused on is going to be Costco and Broadcom. So let's get going on that. The guidance, of course, is...
Can you scroll down for a second?
Yeah, what do you see on here?
You mean you're not
BuzzFeed?
You're not excited about Good Times restaurants?
GTR?
Good Times restaurant. I've heard it's dynamite. That's all.
Man, we need to come. We need to come up. We need to do some more.
I was obligated. The second I saw that, believe me, if I didn't do that, and don't even hate on that, because I'll tell you right now, I don't care if you call me old. It doesn't matter to me, man. Jimmy Walker was a genius. He was a genius. Say whatever you want, Joe.
Joe is hating on that.
You hate all you want. Dynamite.
It's done. The show is done.
If you don't think that Tyrone Big,
it's been a good day.
A lot of characters, a lot of Chappelle characters, straight off a Good Time, straight up. You know what's up? Nah, I keep it real. Speaking of which, Broadcom actually just made a move. You can't make this up. The literal second Sean brought this up, and I'm talking about the earnings names, Broadcom with a bit of a pullback. Just to remind everybody, Apple news that they could be moving away from Broadcom sometime next year, caused that dump. They were trading back higher going into earnings, and they just did a bit of a mean revert. I mean, this is actually gold. Like if Obi was trading this, which I don't know if he was, that's the textbook. I don't know if you're listening, Obi. From VWAP, trend up, break trend, pulls it, gives you, look where it stops, first support. That's gold, because you can hold this short to the top and then get some out there. It's like a 181.25. That's about 70, 80 pennies in there. We did get that Mara trade, so Mara comes into 29 or 23. We get some 90s at 91. I just got some 80s. Low of the day is 70s. So we're risking essentially 10 cents. We take some at 1-to-1. We'll take some out at 2-to-1 and then go from there. So it's continuing to work to the downside. And you're right, Icky22. It was absolutely, the song was pimping. And that's why back in the day, when they actually had good intros. Sean mentioned something that I didn't get to comment on. I obviously wasn't here yesterday. And if you look at what happened in Macy's, and I was going over some charts of some things that I had missed, and this is where I'm getting at with Macy's. This is the ultimate for a liquidity grab. Like, we talk about this all the time. Like, what does the liquidity grab look like? This is a huge liquidity grab on Macy's into now another consolidation off the same high. If this isn't on your radar, if you trade these types of squeeze possible names, like when I see that kind of a setup, where you do that kind of a liquidity grab, immediately regain support. If you're able to take out the top next, that's got some juice to it. So this is on the radar. And the second you had said it, I was like, hey, we should, I'm actually going to write down on my iPad. Forgot to put this one in there. When you do this, any break of the top next is a break that I like. I don't know if Macy's is going to break out tomorrow, end of the week. It's a Friday. It's an even dollar level. But that was one heck of a lit grab underneath. Good, strong recovery today without breaking 17. Going to close essentially close enough to VWAP. But if you break out that 17 tomorrow, I love that kind of a setup, man. Like because you trap some shorts, and then all of a sudden you have a squeeze-ish type name trying to break it out. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to get that Titan stock. Sometimes on an IPO, your only trade is the one off the open. And if that's how it is, then that's fine. My only regret is I didn't get it off the open, because I will always, and I think I told this to a couple of traders today. There is no chance I'd ever take as many shares on the second bounce off that 101. I'm on the wrong start here. I'm just showing you guys Mars starting to come back down. No, I'm talking about Titan. There is pretty much no chance I would ever take as many shares here as I would off the open. Because that gimmick trade, which has paid a lot of day traders over the years, it has to do with, hey, it holds the first even dollar. I'm going long off that one. And you make that trade 101 to 105, and you do that for whatever your maximum position is. When it comes the second time through, I'm taking like, a quarter or a third at the most of what I would take. Because a lot of times we'll see that where it makes the bounce, you get the higher low, it loses the bill, bottom, next thing you know, you're at 95 bucks. So I usually like that the most the first time. I just wasn't sitting at my desk when this thing opened up, which is part of the game. You got to get up at some point, and they have this magical way of waiting till afternoon when people are going to lunch to open these things up these days.
Yeah, that was, and I only knew it because Brankos was like, yo, it's open. And I was like, it's open. And I was like, okay. We went over to it a little bit late. All right. Any other names you guys want us to sort of look at here before we get going? Because, not before we get going, not going anywhere, but as this market's 320 right now, I was just seeing right here, Disney. And again, we can look at Broadcom. We can look at all these names for sure at any moment. Disney, again, not doing too much today. The thing about this name is it's trying to hover up here. I like huge move right there for Disney on the daily, right? I mean, what a gap sort of a play there. What even happened on this day? 102 up to 108, then up to 114, and now you're right back into some possible tops again for DIS. So let's just try to pay attention here, see what winds up happening with Disney right now. But again, nice little move to the high side. And just looking at it here, not doing much. It came across the scanner as a VWAP, but not much happening right there. We did see SMR. There was some talk more about nuclear today. I forget in which manner and who was talking about it exactly. SMR had a huge move. I mean, huge, I don't know, but when we opened the day up at like 22.50, you go to 24, you double topped up there at $24. The reason why I like this name, again, not making any money, so we sort of know about that, but right into here, $20.65 coming through. That is but that is the 50-period moving average. I like SMR there, and if you want to play the uranium game elsewise, there are other plays. We have NNE, we had Cameco there as well, but this is the E.
I was going to say URA, actually.
Yeah, URA.
Pulling back into the 200 period.
Okay, so that's an ETF that we're talking about right here. I mean, here it is right here.
Oh, you have it up?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was going to say, if you want to play more broader there for URA, you're going to get it right here. So there's I have the 200 period in around 29 and change, so you're going to get that now. We talked about buying that down here. That would have been a good one. But yeah, good pullback. This is what I'm talking about. There's going to be value in some of these names. And I think URA, just another example of that right here, right now. So there's uranium down to 29 bucks. I liked it. This isn't the ETF that sort of I would look to get into. We had recently bought XBI, average price in around 93 or 94. So right here, that's why I was saying it before I hit the price. I didn't know what the price was. Wow, downside move today for XBI. All right, some of the biotechs, that's an interesting move there today as well. We actually got back to 100 and faded out.
Actually, Sean, there was a question about this specifically.
Yeah, go.
Amarid in the chat just said, with most of the stocks hitting all-time highs, and I know you're talking about the Mag 7 and tech stocks. Mm-hmm. I mean, to say most of them are, not everything is. No. What would be some good stocks? Well, I buried the league, so I already have one up. What would be some good stocks to add for the long term? Well, I've mentioned a couple, and you just mentioned some uranium names. Caterpillar is a name that I've been looking at because I like. Look, stocks that I hold in my long term, if it's a stock that I'm still looking to add position on, and you can get the 200 period moving average, and the 200 period moving average has meant something, then that's something I look for. So this gets down to, all I need to see is it get down to the 200 period, show any type of a bounce, and then I add to it. That's one name that I'm looking at. And the other one, which is distinctly different, I was talking about with Andrew, is look at what's happening to Lockheed Martin. Like this, everything went crazy just before, like at the end of the summer here, when this was at like 474, and then it ran. It's almost back at that level. This was a very big top on Lockheed that it held for like a year and a half. So the fact that you're getting a possible retest of this, like in a major support, like that's going to be like, and again, I understand completely if someone were like, I would never invest in a defense stock. I get it. And I have no qualms with that. And I don't have any judgments, and it is what it is. But I'm looking at this as I think this is an opportunity as it's creeping underneath $500, underneath the 200 period moving average, which usually is a bit of a red flag that I don't like. But given that you have a long time support area down at the 450, this is another name that I'd be at least looking at. So, all right, Titan, the volume is really dying. The volume's really tapered off on this thing. I don't think there's a trade in the last 40 minutes on it, to be honest with you guys. It's a little spready, and it just does not have a lot of volume. I mean, Mara, with Bitcoin still holding underneath 100,000, just got back into the low. There was a decent chance this could break the bottom. Let me just slide to the 15-minute chart so you can see. It's at its low of the day. The low 2 days ago was 2250. That's the target here. It gets 23 to 2250. That was the low on, say, Thursday, so that'd be Tuesday. So Tuesday's low is the target here on Mara. Intel just came back up into the mid-70s. And if you're kind of wondering, hey, Intel's up today, why looking short? Well, just kind of look at this chart. Right, like it's got its own resistance again up around $20.80. You had an open, a close, another close, like 3 closes in a row, and then an open flush at this price level on Intel. So when the resistance shows up there, I'm essentially just shorting it to that top. We've been doing some scalping, but it is trending up. If it breaks that high, I'm out. That's simple. So Mara working. Intel, we took one last reload on it. The best short was this one, obviously. So I can't go red on it, not because this is great, but because this was good. The one that got us all the way down to 2035. But it's looking pretty strong, Intel. I have to admit, Intel's having a very good day today. I'm not saying the bottom is in, but I was thinking the bottom would be closer to 18. It might be this 20 level. Now, if it can do a reversion and start holding that 20, the stock's been so beaten up. At some point, it's just people stop selling.
Yeah, there's going to be good opportunities
it does happen
in this space. I mean, we saw Peloton, we saw some of these names just get beat up. And then we also do have, remember, Oracle is, I mean, not rumored right now, but there was some talk there. I think it was Oracle, wasn't it? Looking to make a move there for Intel. Was it Oracle?
It was.
It might have been.
No, it was. Now it's gonna bug.
I don't know if somebody tells me it was Oracle, but okay. All right, we'll figure that out.
It's Qualcomm.
Qualcomm. Qualcomm. Yeah, that's a good one. Qualcomm. Yeah, for sure. Qualcomm. Because Oracle doesn't make too much sense. All right. So I was going to say that this could be a break right there on Intel of the high of the day right here at 2080. It's right there right now. I don't know why
it's right there.
We really wouldn't take this.
Well,
to be honest with
my
you.
stop's at this price. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I know you're short, but I was just saying like
it's not a bad reversal. What time is it?
This might just be. It's 3:24. I mean, I feel like there's lots of time left to do this.
Plenty of time.
Just a matter of if you want it. So that's it. I think that's a good break spot there, despite the NASDAQ going to the downside. Generally, at the end of the day, I don't want to fight the trend. And right now, the trend is downside on NASDAQ here. I mean, that is quite clear as day. We may even get into that low. But again, that low is right from the morning. So that's going to be 10 o'clock right into there. And we bounce back all day. And then now you're coming back into the downside. So a tough one there for Intel being at the high, but if the market ever got going, that was a nice trade to make. Micron there dropped out from $100 today. It was a pretty quick move too. When we went down there, boom, right there, nice little drop. It started at 99.50, so I'm not sure what was there. But again, if you know weak stocks, the best thing to do is find this 200 period. You know, and if you can get something in and around there, like I don't know how we would have known Micron would have been the short today, but if you did like it, it gave it to you right at 9:30. You almost got, and again, we have to do the tick replay. You'd have to go back and see where were these stocks at that time, where was the 200 period moving average. But at the end of the day, that might have been a good short rate there, 101, and then it came back again. All of the dramatic pops today, and Micron has been faded. Now you're having one right now, but the thing is now the 200 period's caught up to it. So we talk about stocks getting exhausted. That's what this line is here for. You're now starting to sort of turn back upside right now. If this move had continued, you'd be nowhere near the 200 period moving average. But so it looks like this trade is dead. But for right now, Micron, this is something that we have to add to our watch list because we do have that bottom break there, and some would call it a flat bottom break. If we break through this 9650 area, that's a play for Micron. And then all of a sudden, you're right back into that area that we all thought we had missed, and that was this 85 to 90 area, because then earnings came and we just blasted right back up. But how good are these tops at 114, 115? Looks like that's going to remain true here for Micron, down that 3 and a bit percent. So they're not all built the same, which is why I asked Andrew before about SOXL. Now, SOXL and SMH, one of them is equally weighted. I think it's SOXL that's equally weighted, and then the other one has, you know, the market cap weighting. So the market cap weighting will be obviously triggered towards NVIDIA and much more towards that of a play than something that's not. So I'm going to find out which one is which. Simply put, we could just find that out on the web. Maybe you guys might know that as well. But right now, SOXL, some of these names, just look at this. Like, can you take a look at that? I mean, this is what, double or triple? Let me just find out here. I think it's double, and of course it's triple right now, the daily on the long there for the SOX, right, the semis. So if you like a long right now, we talked about VIX getting exposed down there to $12.50 to $13. I think this is coming up to, again, looking to be like a multi-time low right here, right? Like right into there. This goes all the way back to January one more time. So if you're talking about Uber at the bottoms and things like that, what about the semis? If you like the space, you like the space. And right now, I think I like the space. So this is not a horrible swing trade idea into the new year, honestly, or just into the end of the year with a Santa Claus rally potentially. Right there, 60, that bottom is 25, 60. So something there for SOXL if you want to look at that. So I think that there's probably a better trade in this right now than NVIDIA, because if NVIDIA goes, hopefully it raises all ships. And then you have Broadcom today, right? So AVGO, if they can come up. Now, this is going to be like...
Intel's going to break.
Intel's going to break higher?
Do you have a stop? You going low?
No, I don't have a stop to go low.
Oh,
I was just going to say, like, if Broadcom, the only thing is here, this is not going to be a canary in a coal mine. But if Broadcom misses, then yeah, it's going to be downside tomorrow, man. I mean, we already saw the semis get hit over the last little while. You know, what if Broadcom misses? What if one of the strongest names in the space misses, right? I mean, this is what Broadcom has been doing, holding up near these highs. So if they guide lower, like Lululemon, remember, all you need to do is guide. Whatever your numbers are, fine. The market doesn't actually care what you did last quarter.
It doesn't matter.
Because we saw the perfect example from Lulu. Lulu beat top and bottom, but then guided slightly lower. Okay, they bounced a little bit off this level too, right? Lulu was down to 370, wasn't it? No, 389 was the low today. So why is Lululemon only showing down 2%? Oh, that's from today, right? The move down was 2 days. No, wasn't Lulu's, when was Lulu's earnings? Was it 2 days ago?
No, it was last week, wasn't it?
Must have been last week. Yeah, okay. So I have to look at the daily chart. I'm like, what am I even doing here with Lulu? No, it was here.
Yeah, it was last week.
No, what was like
the 5th.
yesterday? The 5th. Okay, so it's not Lululemon. What am I trying to talk about? Was last night that guided? I made this mistake last night too. What was the big name that reported?
Adobe.
Adobe. Oh my God, Sean, that's what I'm talking about. I called Lululemon.
Adara and Obi.
I called Adobe last night Lululemon as well. I don't
Really?
know.
That's a very strange.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why.
I mix up stocks all the time.
But the answer,
That's a different one.
That's a different one. That's really weird. I don't know why. But that's what I was getting at. Adobe yesterday beat everywhere, but then guided slightly lower, down 14%. Adobe, right? Which was actually
trading. That's going to be a buy soon, but
was actually trading quite well. So Adobe was up here again, not near all-time highs, but it was holding the 50, holding the 200, and then whoops, all the way to the downside right there. So there's Adobe off of, again, a great quarter, but a bad guide. So Adobe, yeah, my bad on that one. Right there, I think that's a fine move. Fabian was just saying potentially time to buy something. I think right into here is a good look.
Yeah, I don't.
That goes back to January. So this goes back to June.
I've never owned this stock before.
No, I actually bought it when we first was doing that podcast. I think it was down here. But right there, coming back in, this level that maybe you're looking at, which is right here, if we can see, that's what I'm focusing on. That's June of 23. So you're going way back right now for Adobe.
It's
I like that call right there.
It's the 200 period on the weekly as well. Like that's what, and this
Yes,
is, and the
Rivian
200
Million.
weekly has been a pretty decent. Have a look at it, right? Like once it it lost the 200 period in 2022 and got, when it was getting destroyed. But look at it since it regained the 200 period on the weekly. Like since then, it didn't quite get to the highs, but it's been a support line. The way I see it, like you give it the old 3-day rule, like if you can hold on to this, in a daily chart, you say the 3-day rule, but like allow it to actually close on a weekly chart above. Like if you're using a weekly time frame, then I want to see it close on a weekly above. It's not enough. Like here's okay. I think like the last time it did it, that second time you'd be in somewhere in the second week. So it's challenging it now, but probably more of like a next week kind of thing for me. I've never owned the stock, but it's somewhere that I like on the charts. What did you just say about Tesla?
I was going to say Tesla's tanking. Tesla's at days low right now. I mean, I don't know if you want to call this a tank, but we were just talking about it being at 420 underneath. Yeah. You guys asked when we started the show. I was like, no, I do not like the long on Tesla because just simply put, we failed at the 200, we failed at VWAP, and then boom goes the dynamite to that downside one more time. So I would say be careful one way here on Tesla. You are getting to that bottom that we've already nailed today. Yeah, futures trying to battle back. This could be a trade for sure down there. Play the long off of that 215 bottom. Right, so there's the bottom, goes back yesterday at this time. Well, it's in the afternoon anyways, not at this time, but 1:30. That just bounced again off of flat 215. So, not a horrible idea. So I'm $1 in. So right now, like I said, we had 20% of AMD left. We just got another piece out. We have 15% left now of what we have. AMD doesn't look like it wants to go too much lower than this VWAP. So I was holding out hope that maybe this market does tick a little bit lower. So we do take advantage of that and get a little piece out right there on that name. So far so good. But honestly, we are kind of like dancing with the devil here, I feel like, with some of these names and trying to hold out for lower lows. Tesla's doing it. AMD's not really following suit. Again, a nervous
We're almost back at 100,000.
For Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay, good call on that one too. I was going to say nervous hands possibly heading into Broadcom. So that was something that I thought about there with AMD as well. We'll wait to see if there's any sort of a drop down even further than that. And then SMCI, the only two positions we have on right now are from the morning. SMCI now trying to go back higher. All right, let's just get out of this. I probably should have taken that Tesla long down there. That was a good trade at 215, but I didn't notice it. So yeah, down now 2% Tesla. Good stock, but definitely getting hit right here in the afternoon.
Yeah, it's losing some. Don't get me wrong.
Get out of SMCI.
So a couple of things. One, Mara, with Bitcoin getting back to 100,000, I don't know if I want to stare this one down. If it gets to break even and we break 100,000, either or, probably getting out. But almost said Tesla rejected the high break because you were just talking about Tesla. Yeah. No, Intel rejected the break of the high. So that's a wick top if I've ever seen one. The shorts were better down here initially, but now that you've made that reversal, if I get wicked out and we break trend, then I usually want to get back in. So it's a bit of a, it's not a trend line from VWAP or anything, but see, you've got this higher trend here from 2065 where we're scalping in. If it breaks that trend line, I don't mind getting into it. All right, TTAN is definitely done for the day. I think the thing about this Titan IPO is, usually your big chance on a new IPO, it's the open, and maybe you get some trades in the afternoon, and then the day after. And after that, it kind of dies for a while, and then you wait for earnings or something a little bit bigger. So I think it's run out of time for anything today. Tomorrow I'll give it a chance for a $100 trade. So a trade off the $100 level, whether it's a breakdown or maybe a long in front of, and then after that, we'll just have to wait around for it to start getting active again on TTA. And it was good open, but nothing in the afternoon, which kind of stinks.
Look, we've been talking about this company, Worksport. We're introducing a new discovery on the NASDAQ, ticker WKSP. Worksport is a US-based, very key, manufacturer and rapidly expanding with growing revenues, government contracts, we know what those can do, and innovative green energy products designed to power your life off grid. Whether you're on the move or seeking sustainable energy solutions, Worksport has you covered. Now trading on the NASDAQ, on the big board, WKSP, discover the future of clean energy with Worksport. Trying to break that dollar mark. I mean, I think that's going to be very, very important.
Always a big level.
As well. When that happens, okay, did we just get in and out of something there? Just
Whoa,
to have
now
a
we're
quick
getting to
little look.
100,000.
SMCI, right? So SMCI, we got that. So that's what we just got. We got that fill right there on SMCI. Not a horrible fill. Obviously at $38, it was not moving that much. Our best fills down here in the 80s. We'll see if we can crank a little bit lower right now on that one. People asking about Costco as well. Costco's going to come out with their report later on today. I believe it's 4:05. Both these names should come out almost right at 4. Actually, just in my ear right now, they just said Costco's at 4:15, so okay. But anyways, expecting $4.70. You're going to see a nice move here on Costco. It's going to go out at the low of the day. So that's kind of interesting to me there for Costco. Again, look what happened yesterday, dropped out. This is what's happening today. So we're going to see very dangerous, obviously, trading names that are this far away from the 200, this far away from the 50-period moving average. We haven't been this far away in a long time on Costco. Well extended. I think a lot of people trying to, and we got that question yesterday about diversification. I think there's just been a big run in these retail names, right? I mean, Walmart, same way. Walmart like trying to break $100. Unbelievable move for Walmart, and then the fade out. So today, retail, I mean, look at this. Can you look at that? I mean, that's
a
just
ridiculous chart.
Whoa, that's right. We had that breaker on that one when we
Even
split.
I'm considering.
But look at this.
Crazy.
I mean, huge move to the upside there for Walmart. So I feel like there has to be some profits getting out of here at some point. And if Costco misses, Walmart and Costco, similar, one's going to have the revenue from the membership, but at the same time, they're fighting for the same clients. So we'll have to wait to see. I don't know if Sam's Club is still a thing. There used to be one right across from our old high school. I don't know if there still is one in Brampton or not, but
I don't think so.
At the end of the day, I think Sam's Club was a hit and miss here in Canada. I know Target opened up a bunch of stores.
I used to shop at Sam's a
Closed them all.
ton when I was in Florida.
Yeah, okay. I've never
Yeah,
been.
we were in Weston for a little bit. My brother and dad were in. My brother went to school in Fort Lauderdale for a few years. My dad was working down there, and we lived in Weston. And it wasn't Costco, man. You went to I was doing the shopping. I was going to Sam's, but it didn't really work out here. They're selling Walmart now. Like it's trend down as we speak. And I would think on sympathy it's going to head to the downside, but you're getting a pretty decent. It's only down 0.6, but it's been this afternoon weighing on the market a little bit here. And I wanted to show you guys the early look. There's not a heck of a lot in terms of the imbalances right now. Pfizer is a early look of a 2 million buy imbalance. SU maybe for 1 million shares. There's just nothing happening. None of the big names are on there. You could expect to see something when we get to 350. Maybe you'll see like an NVIDIA or an Apple show up out of nowhere. But right now, the imbalance is not doing a heck of a lot. I'm still just in the one position for Mara. Yeah, it just wicked right at that 23 level again, right? So it comes back into 23. I'm going to get out. It's kind of like, it's weird. Like I'm anticipating a head and shoulders, if that makes sense to everybody. So here's your resistance. There was your support. You make a fresh low. So I think it bounces in front of that level again. And with only not that much time, I'm actually going a little bit more shallow there. So instead of bidding exactly at 70, I'm just going to go out in front of that 70 level. We break out above, and I've moved it from 23 even to we just put in a wick at 93. So I'm just going to give it to that. So we're holding that short. With Bitcoin back above 100,000, I'm not reloading. Yes, it got to my price and pulled back, but Bitcoin went over 100K, and that was one of the reasons we were looking short in Mara. Let me just slide over so you guys can see that I'm not just making it up. Bitcoin breaking back out of its consolidation above 100,000, so no reload on Mara. That was one of the reasons I wanted to be in, so that's a reason that I am not going to be in it. Saad, did we trade play today? I did not trade Dave & Buster's. Sean did not. I mean, you know, like I didn't want, not to speak for him, but I know Sean did not trade Dave & Buster's. And yeah, that was a missed opportunity. Sometimes there's like a continuation play off of earnings that you want to respect. And we like it when stocks go up. Everybody would prefer to trade longs. But when you see something get dumped on earnings and then trend down on day two, sometimes it's just an obvious continuation trade. This never popped. It never had any buy on it. Like there were like little zones where it would hold up for a little bit, but it's just been dropping. So yeah, play probably was a short till it's not. And the other reason, and this is a more frustrating thing, because I didn't even look at this stock, so I'm gonna stop a fail on myself. Why? Because look at that. Come on, son. Look at the flat bottom break on the daily in Dave & Buster's. So when you break a level like that on earnings and trend down after doing so, so you break it essentially here at the end of the day, and then you trend down after, like you've lost it here, you never retest it. Then you break the prior day low. Look at the prior day low break. Obi still here. If I show this to Obi, he'll hate himself because he loves this continuation play. 29 breaking down. That is a $4 move straight down on a stock that you know has been selling after earnings, that is breaking under an obvious level on the daily chart. That is low-hanging fruit, everybody. So I'm a little bit disappointed there. Higher purpose. What the heck was that? What did y'all just do? Oh, it was an Obi sighting. Okay, I just missed it? Higher purpose. Sam's. That's not what I was looking at. It was this one. Yeah, it was a Sawgrass Mills Mall. It was a one across map. Yo, the mall in Fort Lauderdale, and I just remembered the name, Sawgrass. That thing is huge. I used to go there all the time back in the day. A huge, huge mall, man. They're not even playing around. Take you all day to get through that thing. Everything's bigger in the South.
That's like some West Edmonton.
It's not West Edmonton Mall, but it's gigantic, dude. Like the first time I went to that mall with my brother, like I literally got lost. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. I'm like, we walked in, and I'm like, where did we even? And we parked like a hike. You had to be in shape to hike. And it's Florida, right? So
yeah.
You get these rainstorms in Florida in the summer, and you had one of those torrential 30-minute downpours. Half the parking lot flooded, and you got to walk like a mile to your car through like all these different flooded spots. It was frustrating as all you know what, but good mall. That Florida rain, man.
I can. Yes, I can, Ramin. Okay, I can.
How come Ramin doesn't tell you to put the white one on when you wear a white shirt?
We just had this discussion because she said I can do whatever I want, but I will. All right.
I always get told, it's like,
I am surprised I forgot to do that.
You tell me to do it.
There we go. Okay, yeah, good. I went. You know the mall we went to in Buffalo, the Walden Galleria or something like that. That mall is that's a big one as well. There, Dick's Sporting Goods. That wasn't a wicked experience. We went to Dick's Sporting Goods, by the way. That's quite the place. I don't know if you've ever been into one.
Yeah, I've been in a couple.
For a Bills fan and everything like that, ridiculous. They had so many.
You know, Steve.
Yeah.
So I used to do.
You went to pick some.
You know when you're young, you do road trips. Yeah, so there's a buddy of ours from high school. He just like randomly, one Friday, he's like, yo, what are you doing? I'm like, yeah, I'm not really doing anything. You want to go to Cincinnati and visit our boy? I'm like, whatever. We just got in the car and drove to Cincinnati. And the second you hit the border, he's like, yeah, I got to find a Dick's Sporting Goods and go in. I'm like, what, are you going to need to pick something up? He's like, no. But when I go to the States, I have to go into a Dick's Sporting Goods.
Yeah,
that was his big deal. And it's a great store. You could be in there forever. But yeah, I'm just saying. It's a USA thing.
Yeah,
here it's more like
we have like a Sport Check or something here.
Mac.
No, DKS has been doing really well. All right, by the way, here we go. That's right. Nice move down. So there goes AMD, man. We just took a VWAP fill down there as it just continues to move southbound right now. We only have 4 minutes now. 5 minutes checked out. It's 3:44 until the imbalances. Let me just check in on Titan. What is this company called again? TTAN. Hold on a second. ServiceTitan. All right, not doing anything. So we'll have to wait for tomorrow. But I don't know. This could have an imbalance on it. We will wait to see if there is going to be something. That could be something to look at here as we'll sort it now by size, because in this situation, size does matter. And it's because we're looking for the bigger outsized imbalances right now. And we only have New York names, and these are all the usual suspects. You know, Pfizer is not really going to move, probably not doing anything on this. Yeah, so a little bit of a buy imbalance. You see a little bit of a move up there. But yeah, all in all, not a whole heck of a lot happening right now on that side of things. So we'll wait to see now if the imbalances come out, well, when they come out at 350, what they are and how that could affect some of our positions. So I'm just kind of looking at my positions right now. We have very, very light. We had 15%, now we have 10% left of AMD. We have peanuts left on SMCI. So this is going to be another one where we do not have too much exposure right now on SMCI. So we'll wait to see where that one's going to print out for us as well. But that's the plays right here for me now. And there's not, I mean, Apple, if there's anything you guys, oh, you know what I heard Sharif trading was this HIMX right now. So this could be.
I actually got confused. I thought someone had typoed on HIMS.
Me too. Like
before I realized
doing HIMS, I was like, oh, I'm doing HIMS and hers. Someone asked us a question about HIMS and hers and what we thought about it. And we filmed a Q&A today. So what's up to, oh no, G Dessert Surfer. Was it G Dessert Surfer? I think it was, asked about HIMS. And I actually said this about HIMS. So HIMS actually, again, the telehealth unit here, I like telehealth, I think. I mean, I think I like the business there just because, and we talked about this, the lack of doctors, especially around here for sure. It's hard to get an appointment for anything. So if you have telehealth, I think that there's some advantages there. I don't know why this is not working on the daily chart. Did it just flip over to NYSE or something? But right now, anyways, I was looking at that $35 mark. I like the stock. Some good cases out on there. 43%, I think, recurring revenue. 80-something percentage subscription revenue model. So yeah, the stock is working. HIMS working right now. So again, I like the stock.
They're tied to any.
There's some GLP.
When there's shortages in GLP, they do really well. So you always have to watch out for like what supply. So basically, when you get data from Novo and from Lilly about supply of the GLPs, HIMS is going to move on that.
Right.
You have to keep that in mind. But it's a great stock. The HIMX though, that stock it's flying. It's up 40 points. It is breaking out on the daily, and it doesn't stink on the daily chart. This HIMX. And there's two different names. I confused them earlier because I thought someone made a typo. But this is a very, very good looking breakout level on the chart. If we can go to, there we go. Double top here on look at the long consolidation off $5 for your breakout off of 875. All roads lead to 10, which it's desperately trying to get to now. And from 10, you got a $12 level. It looks good, man. And on top of that, it's closing at the highs. It's done 16 million shares. And all of that has been above VWAP. Like all of it, the whole day has essentially, I mean, the open for like 5 minutes, it wasn't under VWAP. But it's going to close at another double top. Even when it reverts and pulls back, it's still finding a way to get back into the top. So super, super strong name here that I think should be on some radars potentially for continuation in tomorrow's trade. So shout out to HIMX.
What is the news here?
I looked it up and couldn't.
Here we go. I'm going to find it down here at some point. All right, so HIMX jumps. Analyst says it may be NVIDIA or Taiwan semi supplier is what I'm seeing here for HIMX. Jumps on analyst says it may be the NVIDIA or Taiwan semi supplier. But the thing is, supplier of, are they doing some of the cooling or whatnot here? Key data. So shares outstanding, 174 million, decent float as well. Short float, just 4% right there. We're going to have to find out. I don't know exactly what these guys do. It's okay. So depository, not Tory. There. So we'll, yeah, oh, here we go, the overview. So where does it say on here? What exactly? Okay, here we go. Semiconductor solution provider, dedicated to display imaging, processing technologies it operates through. All right, so a bunch of stuff that I have no idea. Display drivers and so on and so forth. So, okay, at the end of the day here, news with NVIDIA definitely sparking this name up 40%. So possible supplier to NVIDIA and or Taiwan Semi. So a good little read there for HIMX if you're interested in that. This is HIMS, but here's HIMX right now. Again, just getting blown out a little bit to the top side there. If you're looking at a daily chart for this name, looks like we are now through the top. So yeah, good trade. I think continuation play. So good job there for HimX. I think if anybody's long, great trade. Closing near the highs.
I mean, it looks fantastic. And in less than 10 seconds, we're going to have the imbalances coming through. Okay, cancel. I don't want that. Right, I didn't want to take a position on like Intel or something on the imbalances. We got NVIDIA with a 1.8 million to the buy side. KO's there for 1.4 sell. Usually that pairs off, so I wouldn't be too excited for it under $1 million. There's nothing over $1 million. It's just NVIDIA that's the big one. And even then, 1.8 million on NVIDIA. It's done 130 million in shares today. That is barely moving the needle. It is at that right level where it was a good short for most of the day. But yeah, not much movement. You got maybe 30 cents on that 1.8 million to buy because 1.8 million isn't a lot. We'll see if something pops up here a little bit later. But for now, the imbalances, a little bit of a nothing burger. I want to double check to see how our earnings name of Broadcom is doing after that dip. Okay, right back in. It's trying to get back to those highs. Broadcom's down on the day, but that masks what you saw in the middle of the day. That recovery on Broadcom, even if it's not green, it bounced $5 off that Apple headline. So it's definitely a good close so far for Broadcom. A heck of a lot can change in 15 minutes. They report at 4:05, right? You said?
Yeah, I believe they're 4:05. And we heard Costco was 4:15. So we'll wait to see if and when.
Save the best for last?
Comes through. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you, looking at that chart for Costco, just because it is at that all-time high, and you're trying to have, them repeat some, some of those past quarters.
I just sort of meant, if you had to buy one and you cannot sell it for a decade, right here, right now, between Costco and Broadcom.
Oh,
no, I'm forcing the two.
Broadcom.
You actually take Broadcom?
Yes, I would. The percentage gains on these tech names are absolutely ridiculous. It's something like, you're talking about like 25,000%, like on an NVIDIA or something like that since its IPO. Now, I just think moving forward, I still love Costco. But again, with Amazon and all that, I just think there's a few headwinds there for some of these names. I don't think that...
Walmart's moving like it's in tech stock. That's it's weirding me out.
Yeah.
The way that it's moving lately.
I mean, you asked for a decade. I mean, I don't know. They're both going to be at all-time highs. Hopefully, Broadcom is after the report, and hopefully...
The answer in a good portfolio is you can have a good chip name and you can have a good retail name in your portfolio. Like, you should, right?
Yeah.
It's like, no one actually has to make that choice in a portfolio. Like, you might make a choice between NVIDIA and another chip name, but it's not... It's kind of a false choice there. What do we have? I saw something. Uber is bleeding. Google's testing the lows as well.
I mean, the market's
I just had the Walmart chart up there very quickly. I wanted to look at Google there. We know about Uber. I didn't realize how bad it was getting here in Alphabet. Alphabet down 1.5 points. Look, I like Google. Sometimes you get these breakouts on the daily, and it was parabolic into the breakout on the daily. And so, yeah, it looks bad, but where are we pulling back into? We're pulling back into the prior high. So whether it's here or there, which is 191 up there, and then down here like 182, those will be the spots that I would look for some dip buy opportunities here on Alphabet. Sometimes you consolidate and get a great breakout. Other times the stock runs heavy into an all-time high break, so the day after it just kind of runs out of steam on Google. So I think it doesn't look, technically on a daily chart, it looks fine, but when you pull it up in the 15, it even looks fine. Pull up on a 3-minute chart, it stinks. On a 15-minute chart, when you consider this was an all-time high that it was breaking out, and it was breaking it out here, this looks pretty solid. It dipped into that all-time high yesterday, the prior high, and we're getting it holding that prior high. If we lose 191 tomorrow, then I won't like it as much. So I think that's going to be an interesting one. And the answer, Ryan Lindquist in the chat, are we covering Costco earnings after the bell? What say you? Are you covering Costco earnings? No? You're not going to do it?
No, we're not going to. We're going to fade to black almost immediately at 4:01. No. Yeah, we're going to be covering everything. So join us very, very soon at the on the recap show, where, guess what we just got for you guys? We got a guest right now. We booked our own guest. We got Joseph. Joseph's going to be coming through with us on the after show right there. I just asked the guy, yo, you want to come through? He's like, yeah, man. So there you go. We give some big props up there for Joseph. He'll help your boy out tonight. So we'll get some content coming through from Joseph. We'll get some analyzation of the reports coming through in just 5 minutes. All right, so we covered SMCI right there. So it just came back in. We covered it. It came back into that 50-period moving average. So on the imbalances, we take that out right there on SMCI. Good trade for us today on that name. We were caught up a little bit. We discussed why trading in the middle was wrong, but trading it on the peripherals and on the edges was a good call. AMD, so we cover that one a little bit right there, but look what's happening now as we continue to flush down the market downside as well. We had sort of warned, I mean, we didn't really warn anything, but the market is one of those things where, hey man, I don't know what this is going to bring tonight. We have Broadcom at the highs. We do have our friend there, of course, Costco coming through, but AMD flushing. It could break that 130. We still have 4 minutes to go. NVIDIA, not flushing that badly, but, you know, we still have that 136. That could be a level there for tomorrow for sure.
Bitcoin back under 100,000.
Yeah, that's probably part of it.
Yeah, Bitcoin does the old dipsy-do over that $100,000 level, so it was the wrong out to look for a reverse head and shoulders on Mara. It is what it is. It was going into the imbalances, and going into the imbalances, I'm always tightening stops every single time. So we tighten the stop and put our target there at 70. You're going to get the low of the day, but it is Bitcoin. I'm just going to pull up IBIT. And so you'll be able to see visually. Obviously, it's not going to be the 100,000 level, but there was this push. 100,000 is kind of like just underneath the 57, I think it works out to. So you pushed above 100,000 and then a rollover. It's just a level to trade off of at this point. Like I think you can scalp off of that level in either direction. If it consolidates and breaks higher off 100,000, you scalp longs. If it consolidates off 100,000 and breaks lower, you scalp shorts these days. That could be a trade for tomorrow if we're anywhere adjacent to this level. So Bitcoin losing it, and the bid on the NASDAQ, we're not at the lows, but we're at the lows of the afternoon. LM saying Microsoft tanking. Well, I mean, everything is tank. I don't think I've pulled up a stock outside of HIMX that was strong. Specifically, Microsoft is losing the bid. Yeah, it just dropped $1.50. So unfortunately, we have one of these today. This is louder than normal. If the market's red today, it is what it is. You had to have some shorts on to get the wins.
Yeah, for sure. We do have, there was news a little bit about Meta here. And it was just Attorney General Ken Paxton launches investigations into character AI, Reddit, Instagram, Discord, and other companies over children's privacy and safety concerns. So, doesn't seem to be doing anything. That note was, I see it at 348. So, you know, we're not really getting too much of a downside push on anything like that. And the Attorney General, I mean, I don't know of what state that is, but at the end of the day, you know, there's only so much that these guys are going to be able to sort of hang their hat on. You know, whether or not you shut it down or not. Like, there are various, it's like my daughter is friends with all of her friends on her hockey team or at school. They're all friends through Facebook Messenger, and it has to be approved through the parents and all this kind of stuff. So there are some checks and balances. I don't know what the solution is.
I don't mean to get overtly political, but I don't know. I like to be able to decide how I raise my own child, and I think a lot of it starts in the home, right? And obviously, you know, it's like this stuff isn't going anywhere, and it's our job as, I say our job as parents to make sure that we usher our kids down the right path. Like, these are tools that you have to use. You can't avoid, you're not avoiding them. So ultimately, you've just got to find a way to, you know, to make it safer.
It's just Big Brother. They want to control everything. It's like they don't want you to use Chrome because it's too powerful. They don't want you to, you know, they don't want you to.
Let us decide.
Yeah, exactly. So it just continues, man. I mean, it is the rhetoric that is
freedom,
government and overprotection and all that kind of stuff. But I agree.
Reddit did move on a little bit on this, though. I don't know if the other ones did. We made it to the low of the day on Reddit. Maybe that has something to do with it. Or it could just be the market's down. And speaking of Reddit might be.
AMD here. I gotta go.
There's only 1 minute to go. I actually meant to say this a little bit earlier on Reddit. Somebody had a question about Reddit, and Andrew came on, and we missed it. Look at this channel that Reddit has made. Like, it's obviously higher highs, higher lows. I know this is dirty drawing. There's only 1 minute to go. But look at the channel that Reddit has been in. I'll tell you this right now. Reddit closes maybe not once, but twice definitively under this channel. Play to the 50. I think like a short could be on this to the 50-period moving average here on Reddit. That is a very distinct upward trend. If you like mean reversion, then this is your baby. And it'll probably set you up. Like, and it just, look, if it closes under a couple times, it's not to say that I would swing short, because I have never and do not swing short in my personal account. But as a day trader, I just favor the short trade, at least until you get to the 50-period moving average on trades that set up. So that's kind of what I'm getting at for Reddit. Obviously, the stock has been a complete rocket ship. I have no idea who's ringing the bell, because usually Adara does. So in about 10 seconds, the bell is going to ring. I can get up and go walk over myself. In 5, 4, 3, Joe is on the run. 2 and 1. Ring it, brought to you by WorkSport. Add WorkSport to your watch list today. And wow, you already saw him knocking people out in the midday. You saw him going top shelf in his hockey highlights, but also Joe can sprint across the stage and make sure we get that bell ring. Well done, Joe. Me personally, I would tear a hamstring because I'm old. But he doesn't even have to warm up. That's what it's all about here. Big shout out. Look, we always do here. Big shout out to Fabian Ramin, Andre, our production team, making us sound good, and great job on all of the socials. Got to give a big shout out, obviously, to Joe and to Sharif on that midday. We're going to have Satya tomorrow filling in for Sharif. Big shout out to Brendo on the news desk. Adara had the day off. Of course, shout out to my man, Sean, who is coming back. We got the market recap. He's just coming back to set some things up there. And I want to give a big shout out to Obi, filling in for myself. I know he's filling in for Sean tomorrow as well, always doing a great job. And a big shout out to all of our viewers. We can't do it without you. And a shout out to the best moderator in the business, Bears versus Bulls. You do a fantastic job. I hope all is well, brother. You don't have to do anything, everybody. You've got Broadcom earnings. You've got Costco earnings. You've got Good Times restaurants. I won't say Dynamite again because you guys hated on me for it. So it's a big earnings day with a couple of very large names, but don't sleep on Bitcoin, which just got back above 100,000 because we're just teetering back and forth. Keep an eye on some of the crypto names. Maybe we'll get a runaway from this level at some point. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be watching some Bitcoin because I got physio, and my physio guy is all over crypto. That's his big jam. But you don't have to do anything. In a couple of minutes, we're going to have big earnings, and that'll occur right about now. We got the market recap. We've got Joe. We've got Sean. You're covered.
Oh, hey, Joe. How's it going, my guy?
Brother, how's everything?
Everything's all right.
Beautiful
Everything's all right.
session.
Appreciate you coming through here today.
Of course.
All right. Hey, welcome, guys. One more time. We can always get up the major indices if you want. We can review those.
Let's go over and see how the indexes are doing.
All right. We do have right now good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. This is Trader TV Live, and this is the Market Recap Show. In my ear is the Benzinga Pro platform. We will have those earnings for you ASAP when they drop. I got Broadcom up right here, right now. We're going to wait for it to hit off when it comes through. We got the charts ready. We're going to analyze that. We've got the 1 minute charts. We've got Costco coming through. And what a big day it was for the markets as well. We'll review some of those as we get going in just a couple seconds. Uranium down today. Solar down today. Some of the big energy plays downside today. And we had, again, GLD, gold downside as well. Do you have anything up ready to go?
Yeah, we're good. We're good on the SPY here. We got the SPY up here. So we had a little bit of a red session, as Sean just mentioned, guys. So red around the board on the overall market. So we had the SPY down as well as the Qs down. Nothing crazy, about 0.5% on the session, but that's what we like to see, Sean. We have a nice healthy pullback.
And I think I think that's important too. We can't, stocks just don't only go up. You got to give the bears something to chew on a little bit there. And today there was, right? We did have, unfortunately, isn't it funny that we had President Trump ring the opening bell, and of course we wind up red on the day. I think if you had odds on that, you probably would have thought.
I thought it was going to be the greatest bell ring ever, the best one ever. No one's ever done it better. It's just how it was done, the best one ever.
Yeah, that was the best opening of all time right there. Okay, you know what we had today, though? It was TTAN, man. We had ServiceTitan today, which was a big IPO stock. Came out today, TTAN. Nice little IPO. Starts the show going at 1:01, and it came through at about 1 p.m. That's not bad. I feel like Neil and I, we've been sitting around, and I don't know if you're pretty new to the IPO game. You sort of started here. How long ago was your first trading?
On the
floor, not on the show.
On the floor, it was July, I believe. I started in July.
There haven't been too many IPOs, I don't think.
No. I mean, M&A and IPOs have been lackluster so far this year, but hopefully that's going to pick up with the new administration.
Yeah, exactly. Good call on that one. So we'll wait for that. Some new IPOs coming through. The first one in a while. ServiceTitan, nice day. Goes up to 105 right there. Closes at 100. They're going to tell you that ServiceTitan was up 40% today because the IPO expected price was $71. When someone tells you that, you say fail because it was actually down. Service now closes at about 101, $100, closes in and around there off the IPO. So it's pretty close to being flat on the day. ServiceTitan, we'll figure out where that's going from here moving forward. Now, you see uranium. That was a nice pullback in. If you're looking at the daily chart, I think there's an opportunity to buy uranium here at some point today. But if we're going to look at the stock heat map, as we're just kind of waiting for Broadcom, as soon as that comes again, we have the Benzinga here. I'll show you guys. We have the Pro platform right here. As soon as anything comes out, like we have Electrovaya now out. You know, the big stock ELVA?
Yeah, that's giant.
You know, so that's out right now as well. We can go over that in a minute. But what was happening today? Little disappointing, I have to admit it today. In the tech spot, we talked about some of these big boys today. Microsoft just got green there, a little bit of a move at the end of the day. Google down 2%, not good. We had a nice run up on Google yesterday.
5.7% move yesterday, one of the largest in a long time for Google, Sean.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic move yesterday.
Oh, we had back-to-back jacks on that, actually. 2 days in a row. Nice move. So again, as we said, no surprise there, Joe, that Google comes back in a little bit today. Oracle also down 1.83%, but it's this guy right here. It's Adobe down 14%. Sometimes you can win, sometimes you lose. They won. That was a good quarter, but then they got it a little bit lower. To me, that's a possible sandbag. And what I mean by that is that whenever you're a little nervous about the next quarter, nothing wrong with guiding a little bit lower, but I feel like that move right here could have just gotten a move down, and we'll see what's happening next quarter. This could be a good buy spot down into June of 2023 levels. If we zoom this back out, we talked about that earlier. Right into here, I like that. Restoration Hardware
coming out.
Is out right now. What's up, RH? Right now, we like it. Joe's excited about this one. It's a nice move to the upside. Wow, Joe, 13.8% for Restoration Hardware, $1.66 in earnings. Estimate. That doesn't make sense. No. 265 expected. Okay, so we have it out right now. I'm just going to show it to you what we have on Benzinga. Here's Restoration Hardware. Q4 adjusted EPS 248 misses 265. So that's strange. Sales misses as well. So here you go. So yesterday, and we'll find out if those numbers are comparable. We'll wait for more information on RH. But yesterday we had a double beat on Adobe, down 14%. Today we get the double miss on Restoration Hardware, and we are upside. So let the
we need to see the guide on this one here, Sean. So absolutely.
Check Twitter. We'll find out if there's a guide coming out. As soon as I get that, we'll have that for you. But right now, RH, if we're going to call about a weekly chart, and again, this is expensive stuff, my guy. I don't know. I mean, I'm buying my stuff at IKEA. People are buying at RH right there. So it's a nice move to the high side. Nowhere near all-time highs for Restoration Hardware back in March of 21. This is when everybody was at home and they're buying stuff, they're putting stuff in their houses, everybody's building out their office. You probably had a home office. Anybody trading from home during those times, shopping at RH, downside, but there's a nice little move there for Restoration Hardware, now upside for RH. I do want to thank everybody that's joining us right now. I have the chat open. You are not forgotten, man. Anybody in the chat, we're watching. Oh boy, says Trader Lee as well, or Leah. David Moore is here. RC is here. Yeah, we're going to get all of that for you guys, including Costco and Broadcom in just a matter of seconds. But here we go. Let's flip back over. Let's see a 1 minute look on Restoration Hardware. Still pushing highs. When and if I ever get it, here it is right here. So this is the beat right now. Restoration Hardware sees Q4 demand growth of 20 to 20. There you go.
It's the guide.
My guy over here. Options, Joey options, 20 to 22% versus 18 to 20. So you get a little slight bump up there in the expectation. And we said this already, man. If you're trading earnings based on what you think just happened, that's wrong. That quarter is in the past. We're looking forward. Restoration Hardware says thank you a lot for that. People saying Costco moving around a little bit here in the after hours. Not really. Tried to break through that, I guess, 995 area. We have the 200 period there. We'll wait for Costco. We're expecting a 4% move on Costco, which puts this thing, this is the daily chart for them. They're mooning as we speak. Okay, so here we go again. On Restoration Hardware, guidance, total growth 6.8 to 7.2, margins 11.5 to 11.7. So it looks like all of these in green. We want to thank you that. Raising guidance on RH. Thank you to Benzinga Pro for that one. So RH right now, Joe, continuously. There's the tick right there, 442, making moves in the after hours. That is RH. All right, let's go back over just real quickly. Look at some of these sectors that have been blasting off there today. So the financials, Met, nice upside move, of course, MetLife, as some of the insurance plays starting to come back to life a little bit there today. We had, okay, I don't really see too many big names here today. What was JP Morgan's outlook there today? Down 1%, so that's not great. UNG was nice up, so we did see some power moves to the upside there today. Fox, and what was that news? I heard you guys trading Warner Brothers there.
Warner Brothers, yes, it did. I'm not too sure about the news, but it was moving up 15% on the session, putting in a phenomenal day so far. So we took a couple trades on that one, but that is Warner Brothers. It was moving this morning, guys, gapping up 15%.
Yeah, we can double check the news here on Warner Brothers. A spin-off there, potentially unlocking linear right there, spin-off. So I don't know what they're going to do there. I don't think linear cable is very good anymore, but they're going to try to spin that off, looking to restructure and get some value there. So Warner Brothers, blast off to the upside there today. So a nice little move there, up 15%. So, all right, man. What's up with those dollar hot dogs, man? What are we going to see? $1.50 hot dogs. $1.50. My bad. $1.50. Not only that, you also get the drink, Joe. But for me, I don't know if it's my age or not. I can't really eat those hot dogs.
No, I've never had one. I was an IKEA hot dog guy. 50 cents, you get the bag of chips and the pop at IKEA.
You remember IKEA? I don't know, they had breakfast for like $1 or $2 for a while.
Those are the prices that we like. Those are the prices that we like. But Sean, Costco, a lot of open interest to the put side here. Yes. Around 200K open contracts right now, around that $940 price target. So guys, keep an eye out for that. Some more open interest on the put side compared to the call side, guys. So keep an eye out for that.
So we have more open interest on puts. That's generally speaking, maybe there's some sort of a put wall up there.
Something along.
Do you think it has anything to do with $1,000?
I don't know. I looked to see up there, but again, we didn't have too much open interest on the call side. So I'm curious to see how this report comes out and how the street perceives this. Because if we do move to the downside, I'm going to be looking at these price targets, $950 and $940 on Costco.
All right. Lastly, RH says they do not expect a negative impact on margins as a result of the most recent communications about tariffs. All right. So so there we go. We got to the end of that eventually. Restoration Hardware, I guess that's pretty key there. They're not seeing any forward complications regarding any of the tariffs. So that's pretty interesting there. I'm not sure how many of their products are actually made in China or here northbound in lovely Canada, but Restoration Hardware right now, nice upside move. The only earnings report of significance that we have out right now. All right, so today we had a little bit of a pullback in some names that we weren't really expecting pullbacks in. Number one name, Tesla today. So I'm actually going to just sort of zoom out on this a little bit. Actually, let's just go to a 5-minute chart really quickly to see Tesla. It topped out again today at 430. Now, we had seen that in the after hours yesterday, $430. So there was some indication there that could have been a topping interest. We could put up volume to see if there was any sort of an indication there of why we dropped in there for Tesla. But at the end of the day, we've had such a huge move in this name that a little bit of a pullback. We've had days where we've stalled before, Joe. Just give it back 3 days ago. We had a red day. Then we started to blast higher, and it's on relatively nothing. I mean, we still have word about that Model Q, so that's a possible play there between $25,000 to $30,000 US. That's pretty affordable. But the thing about that, Joe, is already the average Tesla car that's being sold in the United States is under the average vehicle period being sold in the United States. So they already sort of have some underpinning on that lower price. So we'll wait to see if the Model Q has anything of interest in Tesla. Also, again, let's not forget about it, man. AI, quantum computing. This guy rigged together like 100,000 GPUs, created this supercomputer. Plus we have Grok. I mean, who knows if that's going to be installed into full self-drive or any sort of AI associated with that. Volkswagen got a bump up there as their AI has been improved as well in their new vehicles. So we'll wait to see about Tesla. Plus we also have Optimus. Go ahead.
Optimus. And one thing I wanted to add, Sean, is I know your darling PLTR. As you can see, we went on an absolute monster run. I want to compare this daily chart to Tesla's and exhausting volume.
Right.
We went on these crazy runs on PLTR.
Have his screen?
That's all right. I'm on this one here.
It's on the middle one.
Yeah, I'm on the middle one here. Oh, we can't use that one. Anyways, I'm just going to talk about it anyways. So, guys, just compare the two charts. As you can see, Tesla has been gone parabolic. All right, so has PLTR. This is exhaustive volume, okay? So, guys, it may be some topping signals on both PLTR and Tesla. That's where you can see a possible pullback in Tesla here in the near future.
Okay, good call on that one as well. And remember, we just started making money on Palantir in the last couple quarters, right? Now, yeah, so they had 5 straight up quarters, got them into the S&P 500. Now we just wait for that announcement, guys, on the NASDAQ 100. I don't know when that's supposed to come out through. As well, Costco is out. $4.40 for Costco. Estimate was $3 and change. So right now we're going to wait to see what's happening with Costco. It looks like it is a beat for Costco. I'm not seeing any moves here yet for COST. I'm hearing it in my ear that there is a beat on Costco. Broadcom also out. Oh God, they both came out. Bang, there it is. Here we go for Broadcom. We're looking for a bigger move on this name though. I think it was 8 to 9%. It was 7%. So let's wait to see $1.42 right here for Broadcom. $1.42, it's right on the screen right now. $1.42 versus $1.38, but a miss on sales right there for Broadcom. So a miss on that one. Plus we have that new talk about them and Apple trying to get in bed together with that new chip. But there it goes. Broadcom touches 190 and now pulling back. We're going to need to see Broadcom's guide right now. There it is now turning negative. Wow, it is a bouncy move, man. 190 top, Joe, down to 177. Let's have a quick look at the daily. What is that number that we needed to hit? So it does make new all-time highs today, but faded off of that. Their all-time highs 186. Broadcom right now downside. You can see it right here. 182.90, 183. Here we go for Broadcom. Another move to the upside. The only thing I'm hearing right now, EPS of 142 beating 138 for Broadcom. Sales missing 1405 versus 1409 on Broadcom. Okay, here we go though. This is a problem as well maybe for Broadcom. Q1 revenue seeing, so here's the guide for Broadcom. They see revenues roughly 14.6 billion versus 14.61 billion. Are you telling me that $100 million is on this, and we're talking about 14 billion, is going to make a difference? Broadcom says no, and Broadcom right now trading at new all-time highs. That's Broadcom. Good one for that one. What about Costco, they say? I don't know if anybody's saying that. I am. Hey, right now over 3,700 watching, Joe. There it goes. Costco, a little bit of a delayed reaction, but we have new all-time highs for Costco as well, as that takes out 101 right now. $1,010 was just breached a little. Well, actually, we got up to $1,008 right now for Costco. So just a quick little review. I think there's more people interested in what Broadcom is doing. Is there any push forward on NVIDIA? Not really. Is there any push through on AMD? No. So it looks like we'll just sit here on Broadcom and have a quick little look. So a nice move up there. If we sit right here right now, we will be in and around those all-time highs on the daily. It looks like we're talking about 186.40 or so new all-time highs. Broadcom at 187.50 right now, taking out new highs. So Broadcom, what I'm reading right here, this is the Benzinga Pro. And if you ever see anything, Joe, please interrupt me over here.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're continuing to move higher, now breaching that 190 price target on AVGO.
Boom.
So let's see what the contracts are going to say here at that nice price, that next price target, possibly 200 in the sights. for AVGO here, Sean, I think.
Yeah, maybe even tomorrow right there. All right, let's just see if there's any news on this one. Trading higher followed mixed Q4 results. We get that as well. So I'm not really seeing too much right now. But there it is, as you just mentioned, bang. It's not even outperforming itself. It was supposed to be implied move on options, Joe, was 7. So right now you're only at 4.5. So what exactly does that mean? So if the implied move was 7%, that means that whether or not you had a put or a call at current prices, you've lost.
You've essentially lost. You need the options contract to exceed that expected move because the options market is pricing in that move. So you're paying that extended premium on these contracts. So you need it to extend that 7.5 expected move in order to be profitable on those trades, Sean.
Good call. Anybody here right now? Some saying, holy Batman. Yeah, nice move up there for Broadcom. And again, just for the big guys, I feel like it's good for NVIDIA. Obviously, we'll have to read more about you know their customers and all of that. Now I was still interested in Apple. It's not doing anything. Apple and Broadcom were talking a little bit about getting together there for that chip that they talked about a couple days ago. That news is already baked in. And of course, Apple today with a little bit of actually, I thought Apple pulled back. It did not. Apple right there up that percent, 0.5%, sorry, near all-time highs. It looks like it'll be a new all-time high close today for Apple. So we'll be happy with that at 247.60. But we did wick higher yesterday, up above that 250 marker. So we still wait for that. We talked about I was asked earlier by Neil, AVGO or Costco moving forward for the long term. I chose Broadcom. I think he said 10 years. I don't know. I mean, I know Costco is not going anywhere. I just think Broadcom, again, I like the space. We'll see what happens here with Walmart. Walmart looks like it's pulling back just a little bit. Let me see this quickly. So no reflection on Costco, on Walmart based on, Costco turning around right here. And you know what? Here we go. Let's go hit a little fail here. I'm seeing on the Benzinga right here, we have a correction, ladies and gentlemen. It's showing that wholesale
Adjusted.
Anybody around here? Yeah. So we have 382 beats 379. I'm not sure what the adjustment was. 62 sales, 62 billion, I guess, versus 6208. It still looks like a double beat here for Costco. So ears to the ground about why this has reversed. There it is. So the EPS 404 beating 378. Looks like the sales are fine. So we're gonna wait to find out what's going on right now. Oh, there it is. That's the correction. So here it is. It comes out at 404, Joe. Gap EPS. Here's the correction right now, 382. 382. So not as juicy there. 404 was, I guess, misread. I don't know by Benzinga or who reported that, but it looks like right now 382 all in all for cost. So that has sent this name, womp.
Any news on the split, Sean? Because I know a lot of investors are waiting for a split on this thing. One of them being myself. We need a split on Costco. Any news on this?
I would love to get a 10-to-1. Great question there.
Easily a 10-to-1.
So I think that would spur, obviously, new buyers. And you know why I like it? I like it for your side of things, for the options. Because people are more hesitant. It's a higher premium because the moves are bigger, right? You want a 10% move in a $1,000 name, that's $100 right there.
And I was looking at the spreads on these contracts for Costco. You're looking at $50 spreads here, Sean. No one really wants to put that up.
It's not friendly for retail right there. Sure, you can trade. This is the thing. We always hear this because people say, well, you can fractionally trade. Fine, that's shares. You have to buy one contract.
Buy contract.
You cannot buy
equals to.
You can't buy a quarter of a contract?
You can't buy a quarter of a
That's
contract.
too bad. Right there. So now Costco, again, bang to the downside if you're short. People celebrating that play. Looks like it's downside. Did we get a reversal in Broadcom, though? No, we did not. Broadcom holding out at 190. So it looks like the two big earnings plays today. One will be roughly flat with Costco. I think you buy dips on that name. And you know what? Let's do a little bit of look at that quickly for Costco. Where are there some dip buy opportunities? So you're not going to get anywhere near the 50-period moving average. I don't think on this report. Remember, they beat on both sides. It's just they did not beat as much initially as we had thought. So that was a little bit of a pullback. We'll find it might have been Reuters or I don't know who misreported that, but Costco right now to the downside. Don't come after us, man. I just showed you the correction there. So again, Costco reported 404 early. Looks like it's only 382 as that report. So I would say you want to buy into this level right there, 920, a good little level there for Costco. Is Titan moving at all in the after hours? So this is a relatively new, nothing at all. I just want to see, sometimes you get moves moves in after hours on some of these plays that have recently reported. People trying to position for tomorrow, but I'm not seeing anything in that right now. A name that I've liked, again, we had a good report from GameStop the last couple of days. Were you trading this at all during the wild days?
I traded it yesterday a little bit, not during the meme time.
Right,
I was not involved in that at all, guys. But I wanted to ask you this, Sean, to compare apples to apples, what are you going for long term? Costco or Walmart? Talking staples here.
Yeah, I mean, in the retail space, am I allowed to choose Amazon? No, so I would choose, for me, actually, the interesting thing about both of these companies, in my opinion, is I'm not sure about the online presence. We can go to the double shot here for us. I'm not sure of the online presence of Costco or Walmart, to be honest with you.
Walmart is picking up their
Right,
e-commerce.
so I like the way e-commerce is going. I think it really helps with all the margins. The only thing about Costco is, and I want to see from the report, no one cancels their memberships. I mean, and if they do, they're replaced by somebody else because someone else is born today, right? So the thing is that there's more and more people involved in that side. So I do like the recurring revenue. But if Walmart can sort of settle down a little bit and get that e-commerce going,
giant.
That's a tough. What would you choose?
I mean, like, this is how.
What about people in the chat, first of all?
Yeah, let us know in the chat what you're thinking about. But there's not very many grocery stores that you have to pay to get into.
Right.
And that's with Costco. I really like you just mentioned, that revenue stream of those memberships. I really like Costco, so that's why we want to split on Costco, because I would like to get involved in this one.
So you would choose Costco or Walmart?
I would go with Costco. Just because I
like the point. That's your thing is the point. I like that.
I like Costco.
I like the point. Okay, so let us know in the chat what you guys think. I mean, we have the chat now up on the board right here. We're not going to put up a poll or anything. Just let us know what you guys think here. Costco or Walmart. I wouldn't put Amazon because I think that might win. All right, today, let's just go over some of the sectors. XLE, man, continues to go down. Oil, not great here. I still wait. I still want to hold out here on buying dips in oil. I still think that come January 20th, unfortunately, I feel like there's going to be more unsettling news coming in the Middle East there, as President-elect Trump has sworn that, hey, if this is not settled by January 20th, he's going to have something to say, and apparently that's violence. And I don't ever really like talking about that, but those are his words. So we'll wait to see here. As USO today, a little bit better. Oh, we saw UNG. I don't know why. There's a lot of people that are always, predicting the downfall of natural gas. Look, it is the widowmaker. We've talked about how bad this is. If we call up a weekly chart on UNG, you're going to see that this has just been absolutely like $130 down to 15. It's been pretty bad, man. And again, there's not that many uses right now for natural gas. I mean, there are, but it's not the greatest there. Can natural gas start to power some of these maybe infrastructure plays there? When we talk about some of the superscalers or hyperscalers like Google, they're looking at uranium now. But what about nat gas? I mean, that is in plentiful supply, especially in North America. I think this is worth trading right now. I've talked about this a couple times, and it's come in and hit this 1250 numerous times and now bouncing off. The only problem is 200 period, 200 period, 200 period. All of this coming into play again for natural gas, bumping its head off of the 200 period one more time. So again, I'm not really seeing too much movement here in the after hours. Costco, let's just review this real quick. We only have 4 minutes left. So on a daily chart here for Costco, let me just put this over. I don't know why that switched. Did it go fast, Fabian? The after show?
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does, man. 991 right now. Costco flat right now heading in. What was that? I can't hear anything. I don't have it. Lights on show? Oh, the Paisan show. I mean, where is your dad born there, or?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, same as mine. Which part?
No, not in Italy, Jamaica. What do you mean?
Oh, Jamaica. This guy said Paisan. I figured you had some Italian.
No, I'm
you kind of look
Jamaican.
Italian. That's right. I knew you were.
Yeah, I told you.
You were half Jamaican. Doesn't Joe look Italian though? I mean, how many? Joe is such an Italian name.
Yeah, such an Italian name.
Joseph, especially. Joseph, and the way you talk with your hands, my God. That's why I thought this guy was Italian over here. I forgot that you're half Jamaican there, my guy. But okay, so let's go. People are saying AMD is flying. I don't know if you just want me to call this up. So you win. It's not flying at all. But right now, AMD, look, we've talked about this. Look,
I'm 50 cents.
I would rather at this point, I am loaded with NVIDIA shares. Okay, so my play right now is actually, and I said I would do this and I did not. Maybe you guys in the chat can help me out. It's either the SOX L, which is levered, but the SOX index or SMH, one of them is market cap weighted. I want to know which one that was, but for right now, SMH, I feel like if I was going to get involved in any chip space right now, it would be with one of these ETFs. So we just got to do a better job and try to figure out which one. I've been in SMH before. I'm not in it anymore, but 200 period right now coming into play for SMH. And as you can see for NVIDIA, we are still ways away. We still have to sort of break through this 133 line that's been holding right there on a trend line to get into the 200 period. That's $114. So if NVIDIA gets there, I want to buy it for sure. But the case it doesn't, you have some upside plays in SMH, I feel like, bouncing opportunities. And when we're looking at AMD, that's the kind of play that I'm looking at as well. Underneath. Hard for me to buy this name, but I could buy the ETF. So that's what SMH is right there. All right, man, we are almost done the show, which means that, first of all, thank you, Joe, for coming through, man, as well, my Italian-Jamaican friend. But we do have, right now, we have roll call. So let's do this. Joe, I don't know if you have the chat open anywhere.
I got the chat open, baby.
Okay, so we're going to go half-half, man.
All right,
I'll do it for the first 5 seconds. You do it for the next 20.
Let's go.
Okay, right here, Slugga214 says, what's up? And I got to say what's up to Adam. Adam came through. You remember Adam Deleuze, obviously?
Adam, ADL,
good one. ADL, baby. He likes Joel. I think you're becoming everybody's favorite, so that's great. Joe, what's up? Says Richard, Shay, Rivian Millionaire, Be Free, Hugh something is here as well. Havana Woody is here. Hey, Rivian Millionaire stuck with us, man. This guy's been here all day. Shout out to you, Rivian Millionaire. Anyone catching your eye in there,
we
Joe?
got Ryan Lundquist. I don't know if he's related to the New York Ranger former goalie.
Boom.
We got him. We got Derek Thompson. Havana Woody just added me on Twitter. Sean, Sister Gil from something. We don't know. Oliver Castoro, Relajo, Damian Treyes, Educated Stallman. We got all these people. Why not? The Realist, Holy Trades, Trade Hater, Christopher. We got all these names. They're coming in fast. We're coming in hot. What an amazing day so far.
That's it. You know what that siren means?
It's that time.
Unfortunately, the fun has to come to an end. I feel like me and this guy could go all day. Let us know if you like this, man. I told you guys before, email marketing at tradertv.live. Let them know about this combo. I'm really happy to have Joe on here. But it's return of Miss A tomorrow. Ooh. We've got Adara on the recap show. The only thing is tomorrow, man, I got to say have a great weekend to you. I'm not here tomorrorow. She's got a game against Leaside. We got Leaside. We got some Leaside action going on there tomorrow. So we're ready to rock and roll. Yeah. We're taking a day off tomorrow. So me and Sharif not in. So it's going to be you and Sataya, I heard.
You and Sataya tomorrow.
That's new, right?
That's a new combination we got going on here. We're going to talk a lot of crypto with the crypto queen.
Buddy.
Because we know that we have a massive position in Ibitron. So I'm going to be looking forward because I know she said that she has more Ethereum than Bitcoin. So we're going to find out why and talk about that, guys.
All right. For Trader TV Joe, I'm Sean. We've got, what's that fail over there? Is that because of Ethereum? Okay,
all right, it wasn't for me. It wasn't for us.
Still 4,000. Ethereum's 4,000.
Hey, up there, it's up quite a bit. 36. So hey, we can't cry too much. You know what I mean?
All right. Okay, thank you to Fabian, who's hitting on the ones and twos again. Big shout out to my guy Sharif as well. Obi didn't do anything today, but shout out to Obi as well. Neil, where's Obi? Wait, is he still back there? We have a hand raised.
Computer's off today.
I can't see. Oh, he's off.
Yeah, he's off now.
Did I see Obi here today?
Obi was here today. He snuck in a little bit late.
Snuck in here. Provided me some winning trades. Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, yeah, that's right. I did see Obi. He was talking about the video games.
Yeah. A couple of reversions and then he's out. Punch in, punch out. All
right, we got to wrap this thing. I was getting a little long in the tooth here. Thanks, Joe, for coming through again today. Thank you to everybody. Thanks to Bears vs. Bulls, everybody. And thank you to everybody as part of our chat. All right, potato. French fries.
Let's go.
Okay, thank you so much, Joe. And for everybody here, it's Trader TV Live. We're back live tomorrow at 8:30. Have a great evening. Enjoy some football. Enjoy it with your friends and families, and we'll check you out tomorrow. Ciao.